Welcome, everybody, to the CrossFire podcast. We had a great pre-show, and a great pre-show promises you guys a great live show. It is going to be fantastic. We've got some great special guests. We've got hot topics. There's a lot of people already waiting in the chat. We've got crap burping. There's all kinds of things happening, okay, folks? It's not just bodily functions on this show. It is all about gaming news. Let me start with the one, the only, the gaseous crap gamer.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I shouldn't have had that big swig of some Mountain Dew right before we went on air. So I was like, hey, more room out than in, right? So
well, there's more room for your opinion to come out, crap.
There is, man, and I'm very opinionated SOB, so I'm happy to be here. It's going to be a good show. Very exciting to talk about. This Bungie stuff happened last night, and I've been wanting to talk about it since then because I know there's so many Bungie people, especially you and Xbot for whatever reason.
Oh, so we can talk Destiny tonight, huh?
Yeah, we're going to talk Destiny for sure.
We're talking about it tonight,
Mooch,
buddy.
We're allowed now.
Yeah.
Activision got rid of the trash.
But yeah, I'm very excited to talk about that.
Well, it's good to have you, crap. And then I've got a guy who's in Florida with you. You guys are basically neighbors as far as I'm concerned. Italian clowns. Clowns, how you doing tonight?
Hey, what's up? I'm waving the white flag over here from the life preserver. We are slowly sinking, and I lost my calzone.
How you feel, Clowns, that he declared you guys neighbors? How you feel about that?
I'm okay with that because, Crap's over there watching me drown.
You can go over there and borrow the salt, get some sugar from him. Like, is that the neighbors you guys are?
That's what it's all about, fellas. That's what it is. It's a Floridian feel.
Except when I'm sinking.
Well, us New Yorkers, I got news for you guys. Us New Yorkers, we make our way down to Florida. We call Florida God's waiting room. All right, listen, here's what we're going to do. All right, that's where we retire, us New Yorkers. I've got Xbot 448, who's another, I couldn't call him Northeast. He's Connecticut. It's close enough. How you doing tonight, buddy?
I am in the tri-state area, and I am damn proud of it. What is up, everybody? We got topics today. I can't wait to get back into Game Pass as well. But the topics are so hot that I got my Xbox on. I got my computer on. I'm probably going to mess around with both. But let's get into it. We can talk Destiny, man.
Yes, we can. We finally gather. Shackles, come off. We got an Xbox. Yes. Speaking of that, let me go to my first guest. I've got from the Iron Lords podcast, and he does another like 2 or 3. It's Lord Addict. Addict, welcome finally to Crossfire, buddy. It's great to have you on here. We've gamed, we've talked on Xbox Live. It's finally good to have you. And how the hell are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Go ahead and come out right now. It's been finally be able to come on the time schedules and all that go off. But I will say one thing: I pretty much know where all you guys live now, so that's nice.
That's right. That's what we try to do. We make this a neighborhood show.
It's not really a neighborhood show; it's like a country show. But we'll go with that.
True.
Hey, Addict, my birthday is on the 15th, so I will give you my address, and you can send me something nice, okay?
But my birthday's in December. This isn't fair.
You didn't tell me though. You didn't tell me.
That is true. That is unfair.
Count.
Listen. Count. Nothing like the present, Xbot. Go ahead and send him something. For the God's sakes, he's mooching on the show. You got to respect that.
Look, man.
All right.
I'm all about the mooching, okay? All about it.
Well, you're going to hear a lot about that as the show continues. Trust me. And then I've got, last but certainly not least, he's become a dear friend of the show, good friend of mine. We always talk in the DMs. It is Rick Lagnese from Warhorse Studios. Rick, it is an absolute privilege to have you back on the show, buddy. Your insight, your take on gaming, and just your overall presence on Twitter and YouTube has been phenomenal. Rick, welcome back. How are you tonight?
You know what? I'm great since you pronounced my name right, bro, because if you were off, I was gone already. You wouldn't even heard me.
Imagine that the icon just dropped out. That would have been a hard one for me to walk over. Rick, how are you tonight, though?
No, doing great, man. Doing great. Been getting my butt kicked by my kids in Smash Brothers. Loving that. Don't take it easy on them either, man. I will crush them, and then they finally get better that way. You know what I mean?
That's the problem, buddy. It's those reflexes. They got us beat. Okay, we're getting old. There's nothing to it.
But yeah, doing good, man. We're working on some DLC stuff. We just came out with our making of documentary, man. A lot of good stuff going on.
And we're going to get into that, Rick, to be honest with you. And I thought one of the funniest things about that, just a little insight for everybody on Crossfire. When Rick was on the first time, he's been on several since. When he was on, he says, Mooch, do me a personal favor, will you? We're just launching the game, so if you don't mind, don't bring up DLC because we want to talk about the game, and it's great. That's how far we've come right now. That Rick is talking DLC, folks. That's how good this game is. That's how far this game has come. So, Rick, congratulations to you and your team on the success of this. You guys have won multiple awards, and my God, you've got to be overwhelmed by the success of the game.
Yeah, we were overwhelmed really going on in because honestly, you know, with all the copies we sold, we're like, man, geez, we hope it does great. We're praying that it does, and now we're gonna have a great future thanks to the support. So we're good.
Well, I hope you have much more success, and we're looking forward to either the sequel or your next work that's in progress. Listen, guys, we've got a lot to talk about. I want to say this. Crap tells me all the time. This is how you do things on YouTube. You tell the audience. Please, guys, tweet this out. Let people know we're live. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the little bell. People need to know that Mooch is live. Guys, Bungie left Activision. I know for some of you guys, it's the 57th podcast. You've heard that since yesterday's late breaking news. But here's the thing.
People
now,
going live, just like
right? Now you're hearing Mooch. Now you're hearing me yell about it.
Here's the thing, though. But they 2 topics on here about it, so we take it as seriously.
I completely agree with that. Let's talk about this, guys, real quick. Attic, I'll start with you. You're a big Destiny fan. What was your initial thought? Because I don't necessarily think off the bat that this is something that is just only 100% positive. The media will have you think that. But there are some repercussions.
50-50.
What do you think?
I think it's 50-50. First thing what I thought of is like, is this a trolling article? Had to double check the sources. Right. But you know, when it comes to it, a lot of people, Activision is definitely, you know, they're a very, very greedy company. They like microtransactions. They like nickel and diming you over and over again. But one of the things I do want to point out is one of the reasons Destiny is in the particular state that it's in was because of Activision, but the reason Destiny's how it is because of Activision too. I honestly and truly think that if Activision wouldn't have, you know, strongly wanted them to reword and restructure how the game is, it wouldn't be the game we're playing now. For those of you that don't know, the entire Destiny 1, the entire game was restructured. It was delayed twice because of it. And you know, they fired the composer. They did a lot of stuff that I honestly think that a lot of the grinding and stuff, it wouldn't be there without Activision. And I do think that they can do more with it without Activision, but I fear that they might not be able to fund the kind of content that we want without Activision as well.
That's my concern, is that everyone's jumping for joy. And here's my thing. Activision supplied a few things. Companies like Vicarious Visions, money, etc. And yes, they did
the best marketing money can buy.
And the best marketing. Now you've got no Vicarious Visions. Bungie's going to take on all of that load. Now, they did come out and say that all of their planned DLC will come out on time, on schedule. That's good. That's also doesn't make me feel too much
done, man.
It's done. I was going to say it's they've been working on it for quite some time. So that information was rest easy, but let's just call a spade a spade. It's also something that I just kind of took for granted a bit. So, you know, Crap, what's your take on this? I mean, did you see this as all... No, really. I mean, business. I know you don't play Destiny, but what about the business aspect of it? Do you see this as only rainbows and butterflies, or is there a bit of a hang-up?
I do love how you went from the big Destiny person to the one that don't play.
Well, you know, I like to go both sides of the coin here.
Well, I think what happened is along the way, Bungie lost creative control of their own thing. And that's never a good thing if you're a developer. They got they left Microsoft because they wanted more control and do their own thing. And then they go and sign this huge deal with Activision and basically sell their soul. And Activision has no problem throwing them under the bus time and time again. We're disappointed with this. We're disappointed with that. We're disappointed with this. We're disappointed with that. At what point when you're a developer do you stand up for yourself? And obviously they hit a tipping point. So good for them. Yeah. You know, obviously Bungie made their own mistakes with their own game as well. But Activision certainly isn't without blame. You know, that whole maybe now we'll see a situation where they're not charging you out the ass for all that DLC, right? Like you get the whole thing on you know, you buy a game, you play the game, you know, the DLC, especially in a game like,
yeah,
well,
me
I mean, maybe not, but
like
look,
this isn't your typical game. Destiny isn't your typical game.
I get it, but look at what's happening. Look at Anthem, right? That's trying to take a piece of the Destiny pie, and they're not charging for any DLC.
Now look what happened to the Division. It tried, and it didn't really do anything.
Well, the Division stunk. I mean, it stunk right from the get-go.
Whoa,
but just going off of beta, can we say Anthem is going to be the deity to everything?
I mean, it could be, but you know, look, there obviously has to be some changes. You shouldn't have to pay $200 to play Destiny. You know,
I agree.
Like if you look at where we're going, even Microsoft is like, we're not, you know, we're in this stage now where people don't want to pay these outrageous DLC loot kind of things anymore, right? And that's a big problem with Destiny. So they make it really inaccessible, and they also make it inaccessible for new people. Like they're gonna have to go back and do some work if they want to. Like I gave Destiny 1 a try. Obviously, they were the Halo guys, right? I jumped in. I'm like, whoa, man, this is some slick gameplay. I mean, 30 frames per second sucks, but man, slick. Where's the story? Go Grimoire cards. How come my character doesn't talk? What's going on here?
You gotta
right?
read those. Crap, you gotta read those.
Dude, I play video games, man. I don't want to read the encyclopedia.
You gotta go to the website.
Sounds like they do off the Simpsons now. I was elected to lead, not to read.
Exactly. So then they came out with Destiny 2, and I gave that a chance too. And I was like, it's okay. 13 achievement. It just seemed like DLC that they're charging you full price for. And then they're like, here's this other thing you got to buy to keep up. And it's like keeping up with the Joneses. You got to have certain light levels and this and that. And it's just way too much for a guy. I'm a simple guy, right? I'm not,
too many emotes.
That's why, hey, to be honest with you, that's why Sea of Thieves appeals to me. I know people hate on it, but I don't have to play it constantly to jump in and play with my friends.
And I agree with you, because like my issue with Destiny has always been is, usually you have one or two ways. You have the full retail price that, you have a couple expansions, nothing too serious, or you have the microtransactions free to play game. And I feel like they kind of combined those. It's like they're getting the money for the microtransactions to fund like these events, like the Holo events, the Valentine's events, all these. And it's like, and they want their $60 and they want their expansions. Now they're wanting yearly passes.
I will say this though. Obviously, if Activision was willing to give it up, it obviously underperformed with what they wanted. So
one thing that is really good here that with Bungie separating themselves from Activision and working out a deal to own Destiny, which I think is absolutely huge. Like they're working out a deal early stages where Destiny is going to be their IP.
Well, Destiny's always been their IP.
No, they actually had to work a deal to transfer licenses over from Activision.
The publishing licensing.
I'm just saying. Well, I'm just saying they're going to leave with it intact. All right, and that's a great sign right there. Yeah. When it comes down to it, the only thing I can really point at Activision about is their time constraint on Bungie. Like, if Bungie didn't come out with Destiny 2 by a certain amount of time, then Activision was going to wholly own the Destiny franchise and stuff like that.
What do you think actually caused this separation, though, guys? Let me go, Rick.
Time constraint.
Well, I agree with part of that. That's part of the contract. Rick, you're in the business, and I'm not saying you got a note or a letter or got copied on any of these emails, but what's your take from the business end of this, where you go, man, I kind of saw that coming, or that was this a shock?
You know what? We can all say you see it coming, but it's always a shock. I mean,
I agree.
Right? You can say, oh man,
absolutely,
it's coming a mile away, but it's never easy because there's a lot of things that come into play here. I mean, money is one of the, it's the biggest thing that drives a business. So, I'm not going to act like I know exactly all the details here, but there's the whole thing of freedom is very important to a developer. So if the publisher and developer are able to work that together, I think that's key for success. So the developers have a vision and a passion, and if that ever comes in conflict with the publisher, that can cause problems. And when you have a better working environment, you can make deadlines. Oh boy, that's going to bring up a whole can of worms. I'm not even trying to go. Who said who's this Rick guy, Z Black Rider? Get off the show, bro.
Come on, Z Black Rider. Rick.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But the thing is, it's proven that when you have a good work environment, that you will produce more. And in order to have a good working environment, you have to have a good relationship with who you're working with. So. It's a touchy thing. I'm even feel like I'm walking on ice thin ice as I'm saying these things, because I'm trying to do this as best I can from maybe a business.
Trying to do the PR move right now, you know what I'm saying, and not.
Wait, let's throw Rick the PR guy out the window right now.
Yeah. Let's hear Rick the gamer.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's possible. So, anyways, well, I'm just saying that.
I can save you, Rick, real quick. Like, there's a lot of people that are ready. Like, I was really happy when I first heard this, but then I started thinking about it. Like, I haven't played Destiny 2 since I went like maybe a week or two into Black Armory. I got severely pissed off with what they are doing with this DLC because it feels like they're bringing it all back to D1. All right. And that's not what I signed up for. I got into Destiny 2 and they were slowly kind of bringing it back to Destiny 1 in terms of kind of looking for the story and the reason why you're like in the Black Armory. The grind is absolutely horrendous now in this game. Like man, I can't tell you the last time I got an exotic that was worth anything. And with that being said, like, I don't put Activision as the source of that issue. We've heard, Bungie come out and talk about Destiny 3 when they're making the game. It's going to be the game they always wanted to make. You're going to be able to pick, between light or dark. The grind is going to be real and all this good stuff. And I'm like, so how much did Activision really have in the things that I feel are a negative to Destiny 2 right now? And when I look at it, I don't think there's too much. The only thing I would say is maybe the Eververse store, and people were complaining that there was stuff that was going through the Eververse store. I think that might have been more of an Activision thing. But I'm not completely sold that the next Destiny is just going to be, oh my goodness, I got to get this day one and everything like that, because I have a feeling Bungie is going to, the grind and everything like that, that's at the heart of the game in Bungie's eyes, and they own this now completely.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, the thing is, and a lot of people don't really realize this, and I had mentioned there's another company, and pardon me for not remembering them, but I remember Vicarious Visions. Bungie's going to lose a little bit of support from these other companies that were doing a lot of work. I think
they had Beanox and some other companies helping them.
Well, I know, and crap, the thing is, though, and this, we've talked about this on MNC, I got to be honest with you, those companies, they really contribute. So now you're talking about Bungie taking on the brunt of everything. And, now the DLC, like Xbox said, that's all coming out. We know that. But now we're talking about, this is one of my other topics, guys, the fate of Destiny 3, isn't it? There's
what
a
they
bit
can
up in the
do?
air. What's that?
It's not up in the air. They can take their time. Boom. Mind blown, right? They don't have to rush it out like they did.
That's true.
Destiny 2. Look, the reason why Beanox and these companies had to help was because if Bungie didn't get that game out when they did, they lose a lot of the stake of their company to Activision.
Yes.
Right?
It was actually part of their original agreement. I don't know if you guys know this, but we actually have a friend named Richard Hoagie that he actually has the agreement that was signed when they originally signed with Bungie and Activision. He actually has a video about 45 minutes breaking the whole contract down.
And I guess that what you're saying then, Addict, is what Crap's saying is right. And I think that was one of the things that actually put Bungie under the gun, under the spotlight. And I think that affects, Rick, you work a lot with devs. I mean, I don't. We do have a few devs that show up on the show, but let's be honest, you're around them a lot more than any of us. And the point of the matter is I think the one thing devs don't, what devs have in common, this is why I get along so well with the audience. I know the restaurant business pretty well. Let me tell you this much. Devs and cooks don't like to be rushed. And there's your food reference, folks.
There
Rick,
you go.
what do you think? I mean,
one of many.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. But Rick, what do you think? Is that true? Is that something that devs don't like, this under the gun kind of mentality?
No, nobody likes to be rushed in general. Not when you feel like you're compromising something, perhaps, to sort of changing yourself. Even when Mafia, people, a lot of people don't know this, but Dan Vavra is the creative director behind Mafia 1 and 2, who's our creative director for Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Impressive.
And he, when the studio moved to the United States, I mean, he felt, in a sense, some sort of freedom that he could do more of what he wanted, what he envisioned. Okay, so
yes.
I actually think that there's going to be a lot of emotional things that happen through this, or roller coasters perhaps. But dude, Bungie is also at this point of freedom, and there's a sense more that they can hold their own ground, so to speak. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into that, but when you can have a relation, like I said before, a good relationship with a publisher, you can work out this event of timing. And listen, no matter what anybody says, unless you work in the industry and understand the crunch time, you can harp on it. But every studio has a crunch time. Let's just get that out there, okay? That does happen. Some are more difficult than others. So there's always going to be a crunch time, no matter if you're content with the release date yourself as a dev. Okay, it's just because there's a lot of work to do.
Well,
but, go ahead.
to my understanding, when I watched that video, how the original agreement is they had to have 4 Destinies and 4 expansions by 2021. Wow. And they kept delaying it and have to keep restructuring the actual agreement. So I do think, sooner or later, Activision, because if you read the actual contract, Bungie went in there and pretty much like, we do whatever we want. We're just giving you the right to sell our product. That's literally the whole agreement. Bungie pretty much had they had to meet obligations. And I think that, we're going into, 2019 and Activision, I do feel like because Destiny has been on the decline, that they were willing to let the contract go at pretty much a half in, because we're still supposed to have 2 more Destinies and 2 more expansions in 2 years, and I think we all know that was physically impossible.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. No, I like.
Who the hell would sign a contract like that, man?
Well, Activision, it was a desperation. I mean, look at Bungie when they left Microsoft. They left with one of the they made one of the most iconic first-person shooters ever. So they had a lot of bragging rights. They had a lot of manipulation tools. They're like, we can go anywhere we want. Show us why we want to come to you.
Yeah, but here's the thing, guys. That's true, but let's also not forget they had an ace in their pocket addict when they left. They knew they had something with Destiny. They weren't leaving with like a card game.
Well, that's why I think that they had to go to Activision in the end, because even back then, even now, Destiny is not your average game. It's a hard game to sell to your friends. I've sold it to people and I've not sold it to people.
Right.
So going to a company like Activision, Ubisoft, EA, like 8 years ago, and explaining to them your vision, the game you want to make, is not an easy thing to do, especially 8 years ago.
I completely and utterly agree with everything you said. It's not an easy sell. I've been trying to do it myself. Some people are definitely all in. Some people want nothing to do with it. Here's the thing, though, guys. There's a rumor and crap. I saw your video. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I worked till almost the show went live today. But you did something saying that Microsoft and Bungie reuniting. Now, hold on, like something more or something less than that?
That's a rumor, but right. I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's true at all, because first of all, because first of all, what you have is a company recently paid Bungie $100 million to make a game for them, right?
Right.
So they're also locked into Destiny. So they have to keep making Destiny, which is a multi-platform game. It makes no sense right now for Microsoft to actually do that. So,
the sad part is Destiny's like the perfect Game Pass game.
It really is.
It is. Like, honestly, it is. Like, if they would have had the foresight to go, okay, well, we're going to do this in the future, maybe we do let Bungie make what they want to make, and they can make Destiny, or and then 343 still handle Halo, which I think they do a good job on that. Then I think that's really what would have been really beneficial to them, because there was also, like, remember when all this stuff leaked and Destiny was originally going to be a year exclusive to Xbox at first? There was I
do think that Microsoft will come in there and try to get that marketing deal, though.
I think
that could be feasible, because look, Sony was friendly with Activision, right? Because remember, everybody's like, why is Bungie selling out to Sony? And they're like, whoa, we're not selling out. We love Xbox.
Activision's selling out.
Yeah, they're like, this really has nothing to do with us. It's just like sort of like the reverse of what happened with Titanfall, right? You guys remember that? Like, EA's like, it's going to be exclusive to Xbox. Titanfall 1, and then what's his name? What the hell's his name, Mooch? The guy. Vince Impella's like, whoa, we love Sony.
We love Sony.
Green discs are ugly.
At the end of the day, that's all business.
He's like, we didn't know. That's what he said. We didn't even know.
Well, let me say this much. So LMNPO in the chat, he says, Mooch, what happens to Battle.net? They came out and said that if you are playing on the PC, which I downloaded the free game, but I will say this much. Shout out to the other Iron Lords, Cognito and Sovereign, and those guys, and King, that are all playing. I said I'm not going to buy any DLC on the PC, because at this point in time, I want to see if the Epic Game Store or Microsoft Store or anybody else is going to get a chance at this now.
If Microsoft was smart, they would reach out to them and be like, okay, Destiny 2, that's written in stone. That's not going off Battle.net. If we prove to you that the Windows Store is going to be good, and we prove to you that Game Pass is going to be, making good revenue by Destiny 3, would you be open to putting the base game of Destiny 3 on Game Pass and launching the PC version on Windows?
Well, listen, now, all right, let me add to that really quick. And Rick, I don't know if you remember this, but when Kingdom Come Deliverance came out, I asked you this, and at the time, Game Pass was it was kind of like Netflix when they only they only had What About Bob on there. Here's the thing. So now Game Pass is a thing, and I'm going to take what Attic just said and run with it. What is it potentially possible? Because you can't take Destiny off of multi-plat, but if I'm Microsoft, I still want to promote my product to Game Pass. Why not make them a deal like Attic said? Get it on the Microsoft Store, get it on Game Pass day and date, but it still releases on PlayStation, still releases all over the place, but exclusively, pardon me, wrong pun, Microsoft Store and Game Pass. Is that something that could be, is it something that could happen?
You got a better chance just with Game Pass, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. I keep hearing the
maybe you're right.
Well, regardless, brothers, phone calls are being made. Okay. So here's the thing. You have to understand that there's a lot of stuff that's sales involved that goes into things. So people are going to make calls, even if it seems like it's a far cry. That's their job. Okay. Think about it as someone who's a free agent player. It could cost the house and not even be worth it. They're still going to make the call.
It doesn't cost nothing to make the call, Rick.
They're going to make the call. You just don't hear about it. They make the calls.
That is a very crucial point. And that's what I always say. You tweet these things out, all of a sudden you have 75 people saying, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. It's not that it will come to fruition, but like Rick just said, you make the call. And if you're Phil, did you notice? And maybe it was just because my Twitter feed was rolling a little slow yesterday, but it seemed to me that the minute that news came out, Phil was one of the first people in a dignified seat to come out and say, we can't wait to work with you, Bungie. And it's not that it's going to be exclusive with Microsoft, no. But to get something like Destiny into Game Pass, holy shit.
The marketing.
It's a game changer, I think, folks. I really do think that. Crack, do you think that's feasible? Xbox, you guys can chime in.
Well, you know what? I don't know if Destiny 1 makes sense. I'm
talking about Destiny 3.
Oh, Destiny 3, because I heard somebody said Destiny 1.
Oh, no, Destiny 3, please.
Okay, Destiny 3. The best thing they could do is, because that is Game Pass written all over it, to be honest with you.
Yes.
You need help. Maybe Microsoft can come in there and fund some of that. They've got the big bucks, right? Get rid of that stupid Sony marketing deal. I'm sure that's out the window now, where they get all that shit. Which, by the way, how bad does that hamper your game?
That wasn't even a lot what they got. If you broke it down, if you played Destiny,
that's the point, though. Xbox.
Dude, hold on. Let me say,
though, it was nothing.
Xbox, I don't know if you were part of like the whole Bang Bang group or whatever. For the first years of PS4's life, they treated that DLC like it was a God's gift to gaming.
Well, of course they would. They're trying to find stuff to like
exactly.
But
you also have to remember, like, a lot of people promoted that as exclusive to PlayStation or whatever, right? Like ridiculously, of course, ridiculously. Yes. And all that shit. Make sure that you have the games launching day and date on both consoles, the expansions day and date on both consoles. Get that on Game Pass day and date, and then you got yourself a player, folks.
I completely agree.
I'm just saying,
Mooch, can you imagine?
They're an indie now. They're an indie.
Well, Mooch was talking about third party releasing day and date. Now I know, in terms of being with that big publisher, they're not a part of that. But everybody knows the name Bungie, right? Everybody knows the name Destiny. Can you imagine if Destiny 3 was available day and date on Game Pass? Mooch, would that be that big kind of like sign that you were looking for when it came to Game Pass, man?
That's a bigger sign than the largest pizza Sabroros in New York City that I've seen. Of course it's a big sign.
You would use a pizza analogy.
Absolutely. I'm starving, by the way.
Game Pass is getting, here's the thing. Game Pass is going to continue to get bigger and bigger. Look at the games they're getting on there. They're starting to get that note that people are noticing it now. It's not something that, Game Pass. Like, again, and I state this time again, I can think it's a big deal without it being for me. Right? Like, I personally don't care about those games. I buy my games and, I'll continue to buy my games, but I think it's great for the average person that doesn't. I also get a lot of free games. So it's, it's something that I could see a huge market there for people to continue to do that. And Microsoft's going to have to invest in content, and it doesn't even have to be necessarily exclusive, all of it. Right? Yeah. Like Destiny would make a great thing to go in there. Look, the more and more that these developers go to games as a service for certain types of games, because obviously there's going to be, contrary to what Sony wants everybody to believe, which is they're the savior to single player games. Single player games aren't going anywhere. So, but we are going to see more and more developers try to do games as a service because it keeps your games relevant and it keeps people, same reason why we have DLC.
Yeah.
And, those type of games make a good fit for Game Pass. Well, I forget, Phil did an interview where he talked about the increase in player base to a online game that goes to Game Pass. It's some huge bump, right? Okay. And that can't be understated, right? Like people see that, developers see that, and then they want to be part of that. And that's what we probably could see here. Bungie has a good relationship with Microsoft. Whether or not people want to believe it's true, they have a good relationship with Microsoft.
Microsoft has a part ownership.
Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do.
There has to be some sort of working relationship at all times. Crap.
Yeah,
and I mean, let's take this to another part of this piece of the puzzle that people are trying to figure out as these weeks go on. Is that the Microsoft store? Okay, we know is not very good. Phil came out on stage, made a point to say at the last few times he's been out publicly and said, we realize we need to improve on that. Well, while they're doing all these improvements, there's no better way. Epic is now doing these ridiculous moves with the Division 2, okay? And they're not ending there. They're going to keep doing this with more and more AAA titles. So the point of the matter is, doesn't Microsoft have to do now what you see Epic doing? Now you have, because listen, Rick, you know this better than anybody. PC sales for your game were astronomical. And let me tell you something, the PC market's growing and everybody knows it. Everybody. So don't you think Microsoft, Rick, don't you think they have to come out and make a move, kind of what Epic's doing, and make exclusive rights on at least PC gaming purchases?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're not going to shy away from that one bit.
Again, it's another phone call.
Yeah, dude, put them in. Put the calls in, bro. You got to.
Why not do this? I mean, listen, the market is getting bigger and bigger as we speak, and Epic is the fact that they did this. And I want to stay on the Bungie topic, but let's not we'll kind of blend these two things together, guys. Is that the Division 2 is going exclusively to Epic Game Store, and Epic is and crap. You remember? God, it was ages ago. We saw pictures of Epic doing this big move to Seattle, and we're like, "What is that? What is that?" We know what that is now. You know what that is? It's them making that big push into PC gaming and wanting to own exclusive rights and try to take Steam out. So what this is all about now is now you've got Epic joining and trying. We thought nobody could beat Steam. You go back 6 months ago, Steam was untouchable. Now that's not the case.
Do you find it funny that Epic goes in there very quickly?
Very funny.
And they're taking like Steam's lunch, and Microsoft has been in this deal for years and years, and people just hate it and refuse to use it. And you know what I mean? Like they're Microsoft. They've got more money than Epic. And yet Epic comes in there and they're like, we're going to get this exclusive, and we're going to get this, and you can do this, and this is free, and use this because it's easy, and we're going to give you refunds. It's super easy to work.
I do find this very, very ironic, though, right? Because, it was one thing if they say, okay, Xbox can go out and buy all the IP in the world. They can make everything their own exclusive and take everything from Sony and Nintendo. Now, listen, that's not going to happen. We know that because Microsoft has their eyes set on bigger prizes. But one of the bigger prizes, crap, you made a good point, is the PC market, right? Windows. They're Windows. So why haven't they, when they have a store like this, okay, why haven't they gone out and do things like Epic and undercut and do an 88-12, right? Instead of something else, whatever it was, 70 and 30 before. And who the hell's yelling on a Friday night? Crap, what do you think about these types of things?
I think that Epic is doing what they should do, right? Like they're playing for keeps. Right. Microsoft is playing for friends or kumbaya. I don't like sometimes, you know what I mean? Like I don't get that. Like if Microsoft really wanted to, they could run Sony out of business, man. They could go free Xbox One, sign this deal, pay for the services for years. You know what I mean? Like that was their original plan for the original Xbox. They could do whatever they wanted to sell that service that they want, right? Like the hardware is insignificant to them. It's all about getting people to use their services, and you give people a free piece of hardware, and who's going to say no to that? And then you're going to want the services. You're going to want Xbox Live. You're going to want Game Pass. You're going to want games. And that's where they make the money. Like the hardware is never the moneymaker. If they wanted to and they wanted to put Sony out, they could do that. And it would crush Sony in record time. It would. It just would. Microsoft has the money and the power to do that.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it. Don't get me wrong.
They're not.
Because that's just not in their DNA anymore to be that type of competitiveness. But look at Epic Games, who have been very who is that? Tim Sweeney's been very outspoken about Microsoft, about the Windows Store, about UWP, right? He's crapped all over UWP numerous times, saying it's Microsoft.
Now we know why he did that, because he was planning on doing this, man.
Yeah. So I mean, look, he's got that killer instinct, right? And Microsoft kind of lacks that. They're just like, what's good for gaming? Let's not do this. Oh, they slapped us. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, and so props to them for going out there and changing the landscape.
We got to stand up. We got to, give a round of applause to Epic, because
when you're talking to somebody who doesn't care one way or the other about PC gaming. I hate PC gaming.
But we know the news. We hear all the stuff, and of course, we have opinions. We all have channels. We all voice our opinions. So even if we're not into it, there's always an opinion. We always know what's going on. And I remember when we first started talking about Epic, Mooch was like, well, yeah, they got Fortnite or whatever, but what else are they going to get? And then we saw it with the Division 2. It's like, oh shit, they mean business. So, I mean, we got to stand up and give them a round of applause, because now, everybody out there in the industry, the gamers out there, they know that like Epic is for real now, and people are taking a serious look at their store in comparison to Steam. Steam now has a rival, and you're definitely right. Microsoft, they need to go out there and sign kind of like these contracts for the games on the PC side as well. Man.
That's what this Destiny thing screams to me. It screams to me a perfect marriage.
But it is a hard sell right now. Like the freaking Microsoft store is the redheaded stepchild with freckles of the PC kind of like game purchasing store.
I love how you had to pull in the freckles. I had
to say it wasn't just red, but the freckles were included. That's how bad it is right now. Even if it's not even that bad, it's the idea, it's the image of it. It's just so it's so in the gutter right now that it's a hard sell, man. It's a hard sell to tell.
You know why it's a hard sell? Because we've got that shitty Windows store on Xbox, and it's terrible.
It is bad.
It's awful. Oh, go to here. Look at this. Oh, let it lock up on you. Go buy the. Oh, come on, man. It's like the most awful thing. Why would they do that? Like, that's one of the downfalls, in my opinion, of what's happened with Xbox One is they share a store with Windows. Like, it was better early on where you go to buy the games, and and I just found that to be much simpler, much better. Like I said, I'm not really one that cares about the whole, like, maybe early on I cared a little bit about.
That was to get Satya involved and let him know about purchasing through the console and the PC. Everything is together type thing. That's what that whole thing was for, man. And we got that having everything on multiple devices, having people at least try to get people into that store, a unified store, was one of the things that Satya was kind of like getting big-eyed over. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it is what it is, man.
Yeah, no, I completely see on that point. Guys, we've got so many topics, and I can see us coming back to Bungie.
Dude, I just, hold on.
Go ahead, Xbox, go ahead.
Bungie, I want to know who the hell in their right mind, like, seriously would think that, Bungie going back to Microsoft would make any type of sense right now. Like, that, to me, like, they just had a bad relationship. You know what I'm saying? And people are like screaming for Xbox and Microsoft to be the rebound, man.
Xbox, but here's the thing: nobody
understand that.
Nobody thought LeBron was going back to Cleveland.
Really?
No. Once he left, they thought.
Are you sure?
Really?
I have to Google that.
Dude, you don't watch basketball, do you?
I do. Here's my thing about it: is that it's just an example for you guys to say, and you're all looking at it on Monday morning quarterback. You guys got to look at it from the morning of, okay? Right? And Rick knows what I'm saying. These guys, I'm not saying they should go back. I'm not. All I'm saying is that there's a marriage there. They were together at one point. They still have ownership. You can see that Phil reached out right away. And here we are saying what Crap said. They're
about working with that.
Look,
I can't say word for word exactly what he tweeted, but all I can remember is my feeling after I read that. And from what I read, I have to agree 100% with Addict. They are going after the marketing deal. Is exactly what they're going after for Destiny 3. That's what they're going after, man.
Listen, reasonably, Xbot, I like that. You know me, when it comes down to it, I like to put all things aside these days, and I like to pretend that we're all sitting there at the corporate CEO table. And I think you made a good point. When it comes down to it now, the relationship should be based upon marketing and deals they can cut. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be exclusivity. It could be, just marketing, but nonetheless. So I agree with you there. But the thing is, there's a lot of people on Twitter going, this is preposterous.
Look, I've heard the world to burn. I want the world to burn. I want them to get that exclusive stuff. I don't want them seeing that shit. I'm so tired. Like, I was there for the We about to get taken, Kim. We about to get those those exotics from the year before, and they're like, "Oh, you getting it next year?" Now I want to see them suffer. Okay.
Oh no, man.
We got Simon Brady in the chat who says, Brady says, food analogy, please play a drinking game on every analogy. Simon, that means you're only up to 2 shots. Listen, here's the deal, okay? I think it's not preposterous. I think it could happen. Do I think it'll happen tomorrow, next week, or next month? Absolutely not. But once we find out how Destiny does, okay, because let's be honest, folks, they have been with who? They've been with Microsoft, and then they jumped to Activision. 2 big boy publishers. They haven't had to do what Rick did and other folks and go out there and be on their own for a long time.
That's why they're going to hire Rick.
Well, that may be the case. Rick, congratulations on the future promotion.
Keep all options open, you know?
Right? After Rick says, I'll answer the phone. All right? You know, here's my thing. My point is that I think that this is not far-fetched. People are like, this is crazy. Don't bring that up. We have to bring it up. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it is a talk show, folks, and we got to talk about things. Does anybody want to add anything on the Bungie thing? Because we do have about 75 other topics, and I have an hourglass of sand that's beating down. That crap won't let me add any more sand to.
Hey, whatever I don't get to now, I'm going to beat the crap out of tomorrow night as well. So it's whatever you want to do, Mooch.
Well, listen, I do want to talk about this because I love the fact that we have Rick on tonight, and there's another subject that me and Crap went off on Wednesday night. Okay, and that's Slightly Mad Studios is doing. They're going around and they're pitching the Mad Box. Xbox, you were part of this too. And I want to start with Rick. Rick, here's my thing. I think at this point, I'm sure you've heard about it, and I know you have much respect for your colleagues out there. But realistically speaking, okay, I think Slightly Mad Studios, what they're doing right now is the old-fashioned, okay, door-to-door. I've got a great product. I've got a prototype. Here's my pitch. I'm looking for investors. They're making it sound like, you know, they're like, we've called AMD. Like you said, anyone could pick up the phone and make a call. You know, and AMD is willing to do business with anybody, to do business with anybody on this panel right now, if you got the money. So I think what Slightly Mad's doing is they're doing a great pitch. They're trying to get people and investors involved with them. But realistically, I don't think this thing's coming to fruition, and I've got multiple reasons.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. Well, but Rick, what do you think when you see someone like this that's a developer, and you're there? You've been in the trenches, okay? You know what's going on. I just think this is an uphill battle that's not within their reach for multiple reasons, but I want to hear your take on the initial thought.
Well, so you know, again, I'm not like well, at least this particular thing. I mean, so from what I understand, the CEO revealed details on what was it, a standalone console, right?
That to go head to head with Xbox and Sony.
Yeah. So okay, it's funny because you have the developer side of me, and what we did was so different in the industry for games, and when we actually, it's funny, even when we were presenting our game to like almost any publisher you can think of, some people were even saying, you know, you could put Kingdom Come Deliverance on a mobile phone game. And honestly, like, you know, after you leave a meeting like that, you're like, are you kidding me?
Are you out of your mind? Absolutely.
Yeah, like, you know, and we couldn't find anybody. But you know what? I think it's a very big uphill battle, especially because there's a lot of new things coming, man. There's, you know, and now we're even seeing, like, with the whole Netflix setup with Game Pass, it's just freaking huge. And you see what's going on with Epic, and they're competing with Steam. It is really hard to try and say we're going to come up with a standalone console.
It's a dog-eat-dog world out there right now.
But the thing is, if you have a vision, you know, and this guy, if they're not going to back down, they might as well go all in. They might as well go all in, talk to everybody and anybody, because what else are you going to do? We talked to everybody and anybody, and we, you know, at one point we thought, yeah, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. And we found one investor. So listen, I'm only talking from the more passionate side that is that, in my opinion, I don't know if this stands a chance, but that's just my opinion. Who the hell cares about my opinion? You know?
Well, the thing about it, though, Rick, is they're making promises like this, okay? If you guys give us a slogan out on Twitter, you have free games, and we're going to let anybody that comes on and wants to develop use our what is their operating system. Here's my thing. Nobody bought their games to begin with. They didn't do very well to start with. And here's where it's an uphill battle. When it comes down to it, the reason that you buy an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Nintendo product is really, and you know, no one likes to talk about this, but it's really their first party games. So when you're going to tell me that you're going to go ahead and compete with Xbox and PlayStation with third-party games, my problem, though, is that's fine. But I'm already, listen, I am a hardcore gamer, right? I'm going to buy an Xbox Scarlet. I'm going to buy a PS5. Unless either of those companies want to send me a free one. But, okay?
You're going to mooch it like
I'm
you did
try
the Scorpio.
I certainly will try my best. Okay? I feel like it's Ben Stein's money, right? Right? I shall try my best. But the point being is these guys don't have a first-party game that makes me want to go out and buy that box. I'm already going to have two that can play those third-party games. That's my problem with this.
You know, my bad, Rick. Let me just real quick, because I've been through this entire generation, and I sit back and I am in awe at like how the definition and importance of first party has switched and done like 3 180s throughout this generation. At the end of the day, you're right. First party, it gives the hardware its identity. You know what I'm saying? Like the Halo, the Gears, the Forza, and you look on the other side, you got, you know, The Last of Us, God of War. It gives it its identity. But at the end of the day, the multiplats out there, if you look at what games are being played the most on PS4 right now, you're not seeing God of War and Spider-Man and stuff like that. You're seeing all multiplats like FIFA and GTA and all those games that cover that whole top 10. So at the end of the day, yes, the first party does give it its identity. And I can see what you're saying, Mooch, with the urge. But if there is hardware out there that somehow, some way, it finds a niche that caters to a gamer, they don't necessarily need those big hitting first party. Because if they have all the multiplayer.
Let me put you under the hot lamp for a minute. Xbox, will you own an Xbox Scarlet?
I mean, from what I'm hearing, I'm leaning towards it now. I do want to see. I'm approaching this next generation coming the same way I approached when they unveiled the Xbox One and the PS4.
Okay.
Now, I went with Xbox One. I thought it was going to be an always online digital system, though. So I was a little upset when they did a whole 180 on that. But I still went with that one anyway.
Well, let me ask you this question now. Are you going to buy a PS5, then sell it, and then buy another one again?
New phonomics, folks.
New phonomics, everybody.
No.
You like that? Crap, you like that?
Yes.
That's how Xbox will buy a PS5.
Buy a console, sell it, buy it back, sell it, buy it back.
He sounds like that old like micro cars guy. Like buy it again, sell it again, buy it again.
Sell it, buy it,
but Xbox, you will own a PS5. I don't care if you keep it or not, but you will.
I hear an echo.
I do too.
Echo.
That's got Xbox written all over it.
Okay, there we go.
Dude, nothing happened with my headset, yo. This is weird. I'm only hearing you with one ear.
It's all good. But Xbox, will you own a PS5?
Only if there's an exclusive cowboy game,
or if it's only for half an hour.
Exactly. It's got to be an exclusive cowboy game. No, dude, I gotta say, my experience, like, I'm not usually a multi-console person. I usually pick one and I roll with that, and I get immersed in what that console has to offer. You guys know this generation, I ended up getting a PS4 at a great price. And there were a couple games I really liked on it. You know, the Ratchet and Clank game I thought was really great. The remaster to that one. The God of War 3 remaster was probably my favorite game on the PS4. But at the end of the day, like after those couple games, like I looked at my system and was like, man, what am I going to play? Mm-hmm. And I almost felt like pressured that I needed to get more out of this system. And I think the last straw was Spider-Man for me. To me, that was just a meh game. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need this anymore. So I'm not even sure if I would get a PS5 at this point in time, because owning the multiple console thing, I don't want to feel like I have to get into a game on this platform in order, to justify the amount of money I put on it.
Well, this is the longest section of Crossfire, the longest like bit in Crossfire I've ever done to get to my point. Now that you have that one and you have the other one, what in God's green earth would drive you and Mel to pick up a Mad Box?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Right, Rick? That's my point. There's no way you, after $1,000 spent, you're going to buy a machine that's already playing the games you have.
I don't know, dude. They're not even saying too much about it right now. Anyway, it's 3 years down the road. So I'm keeping my eye on it though. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do if by some rhyme or reason they pull a rabbit out of their hat and they show us something that we're like, oh damn, what are they doing over there? The chances are very slim. I'm agreeing with you guys on that. It's very slim, but I'm not just going to automatically just shut the door there.
Here's the problem. And Xbox, I put you on the spot just to have fun, but my point is
we
that
can do this all night, brother.
But if you're the one saying that it's slim, now imagine if you're a multimillionaire and they knocked on your door and they're like, "We'd want you to invest. Give me $25 million. You can have this, that, blah, blah, blah." You're like, I don't see my return on investment on that.
I would love to be a fly on the wall in that meeting room because they are going to share way more information and way more of what they're thinking than what we're seeing on Twitter.
Well, absolutely.
So I don't know what kind of, if they have an ace up their sleeve that they're going around and talking to these companies with. I don't know that yet. You know what I'm saying? And if they get a couple people to sign on there, I just want to keep my eye on it, man. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Let me jump in.
Go ahead, no, Rick, please.
No, I'm just thinking, as much as there's been all this talk about consoles leaving the market, have we not bought more consoles in general recently?
Absolutely.
From the Xbox One to the Slim to the Xbox One X, it was, and then with even from the Wii to the Switch, the cycles. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I've bought more consoles lately than I have in a while. So,
yes.
I mean, it's just hard to keep forking money over. But I will say this. At one point where I felt like the Xbox exclusives were slim, I found the identity in Xbox Live. It was so good to me.
Absolutely.
Rick, you know what? That's a great point. I'll tell you what. When I said that, because people were like, well, why'd you get an Xbox One first? Well, originally, I thought they did have the better exclusives. But
I agree with that at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And then later on, they're like, well, why don't you play more multi-plats on PS4? I'm like, to be honest with you, my friends are on Xbox Live. I find it to be the better service, the more reliable service. You know what I mean? Like,
I love when people say that crap. They're like, oh, why don't you play PlayStation more? Play PlayStation more. I was like, so I can go in there with my two friends that I don't even really talk to.
Single player games in that way back when, right? I mean, it's still more so. But I'm getting older now, guys, and I do the single player. I'm a loser now, so yeah.
I'm right there. With
is that like a thing when you get older? You just stop playing multiplayer games?
Maybe because I'm not as good as I used to.
Oh man, I'm not old yet, man.
You can get that away from me, man. Now you have me fearing age for another whole reason now.
Young whippersnappers. You and your multiplayer.
I gotta play that single player, man. Gotta play it.
No, I like what Rick said, and I'll be honest with you, I said it before the show. I'll say it to you guys now. And you guys have all been with me for so long in the chat. You guys have been here. A lot of PlayStation guys, Xbox guys here in the chat. I if you guys remember early on YouTube, I loved multiplayer. It's all I ever played. And still, I will tell you this much. I'll still lean. If any of these guys on the panel, any of you guys in the chat, anybody on Xbox Live or listening later says, hey, Mooch, I'm playing a little bit of this, playing a little Call of Duty, or I'm playing a little bit of Sea of Thieves, I'll jump on and play that game with you guys because I love interaction with
a little Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Well, let's take it easy, Xbox. I don't like punching my controller and throwing it against the wall. Listen, okay, I like playing a game with some skill. My point is this. I really, really enjoy multiplayer for the aspect of people. I'm a people person, damn it. But I'm with Rick. I'm coming home now. 10 o'clock is when I get a chance to turn on one of the consoles. And, I enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm looking forward to I've been trying the past 2 nights so badly to start Bloodborne. I really want to get into that. You got Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice is coming out in March. I can't wait to play. Resident Evil 2 Remake coming out. The demo's out tonight.
Guys heard it here first. Mooch is buying a PS5 first. This next
No. Make it easy there, Xbot. I'll still have a Scarlet. I love. By the way, Jamie, if you're in the chat, please keep those Scarlet gifts coming and crap. I want you to trump them later. But all right. What do you guys think? I just want a real fun subject here, guys. I don't want to leave the subject of the Mad Box. But what do you guys think? The Resident Evil 2 demo is out tonight, and Mooch is on record.
Where's Boomstick when you need him, right?
Right, yeah. Oh, he already played his 30 minutes. Now he's making pizza for the missus. Boom, where the hell are you?
I played my 30 minutes, too.
Now, all right, so let me start with you then, Addict. All right, because I have I was going to play after the show.
I didn't say that.
That's all right. You're on the hot seat, buddy. What's the deal? You love it? You like it? Is it what you thought or not so much?
All right, I'm going to have to go from the perspective that probably Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 have probably equaled maybe 3 hours in all 3 of those games.
Okay.
And that's because, by the time I started really playing that genre, they was already on the God for. So, playing 2, and it's kind of weird because the first Resident Evil I really ever stick my teeth in, I'm playing as the same character in this remake. So I'm like, you see Leon Kennedy as a younger age. I really enjoy, they took a lot of aspects from older Resident Evils and they applied it into this. Like, to my knowledge, I don't think you could move and shoot at the same time in the original one, could you?
No, I don't believe
hell,
so,
I can't
no.
even remember,
You
man.
couldn't walk forward.
You had to
spin
stop
around.
This is using the new, the same one that was using Biohazard, Resident Evil 7's engine. So
this is how I want them to make their Resident Evils. I didn't mind Biohazard. I like Biohazard, but part of me was like, I don't like this as a Resident Evil game. Because it just didn't, like, until the very end, you didn't even really, it felt like it had the
Are you talking about 7?
Yeah.
Dude, finally somebody in the boat with me. Thank you, Adam.
I got to jump out. I liked Resident Evil 7 now. Okay, I'm joking. But I liked 7, but I wouldn't fill in the Resident Evil 7 like first person shooter. But like when I play 2, it seems like obviously they're just taking a blueprint of a previous game. So we would have to see what they did after this. But when I played this, I enjoyed the sound effects from you just walking in water. It's the zombies sound crazy in this game. So I'm really. If Kingdom Hearts 3 was not coming out on the 29th, this is the only game. Obviously, it comes out the same day. When this came out at the end of the 30-minute demo, I was literally pushing start. Oh, I got 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I gotta run.
Now, Attic, I'm not gonna lie. I love your opinion on it, but I heard Rick sound like you want to chime in. You got something to say about Resident Evil?
You kids ready for a story session for Grandpa?
Hit me.
So the first game I ever played all the way through on PC for any game, single player, was Resident Evil. When I played that, I never seen anything like that because there wasn't anything like that.
That's right.
They introduced the real survival horror. I mean, there might have been some others, but that was the one. And Resident Evil 2, unbelievable. I was playing them all, even the one on the Dreamcast, Code Veronica.
Code Veronica, my favorite, man.
But the thing is then I stopped doing gaming for a minute, and then I got the GameCube. And I got into Resident Evil 4 when they made it, they remade it for the Nintendo. And I actually sometimes paused the game because it was so intense. It's not like I was like, at this point in time, I was like, not really scarred by that type of game anymore. I've been through enough of these Resident Evil games, but I still would pause. I'm like, man, this game is crazy. I mean, Resident Evil 4 was that game that like brought some new ideas, but still kept the Resident Evil atmosphere. And then they did me no good, or they freaking ticked me off with the Resident Evil 5.
Yeah.
And I played my way through that, and I'm like, listen, I cannot take this, man. I love Resident Evil too much to do this new age crap.
I agree with this.
And then they did Resident Evil 6, wouldn't even touch it. I can't
Resident Evil 7 at all.
I'm still burned. I have the freaking game, have not put it in because I can't get over going from third person to first. I can't do it.
Rick, I have to talk to you about this because the year it came out, that was actually my game of the year that year. Here's the reason. 7.
What?
What were you doing that year? What was you playing?
I loved it, man. I got to tell you, it brought me back. Listen, here's the thing about it is I had a lot of highs and lows with the game. And because I had that roller coaster effect, it ended up winning me over in the end. Here's the thing. Wow. I completely agree with you with the first person thing. That took some time. So I'm not going to even argue with that. But if you'll play the game through, what you find when you get to about the 40 to 45% through the game mark, okay, maybe it's halfway through, you start to feel the Resident Evil roots coming out in the game. And by the time you get to 75, 80% of the game, you are back where you were, Rick, the first time you played on the PC, because you're going to get that story, that essence that pops at the end. That is a lot of fun, and I got to be honest with you, I truly
it's
enjoy
the Hills
the game.
Have Eyes
video
game.
I'm kind of curious, like, Mooch, are you saying you play this whole game? The whole game?
I played it twice.
One cutscene.
Wow.
I played it twice. I loved it. I really did. And, a lot of people in the chat are asking me, did you play it in VR? So my brother's a big fan of VR. Okay, as you guys know, I'm not such a big fan of VR. I have PSVR. I don't use it very much. I had to buy it. He's like, I played Resident Evil 7 on Xbox. But I do own it for PlayStation because they're like, you got to play it in VR. I don't like jump scares. Okay, that's not my thing, especially when it's right up to your face. Who wants to watch a horror movie with your TV an inch and a half away from your face? I don't like it. But so it wasn't my thing. But I got to tell you, if you haven't tried it, guys, you got to go back and try it. Now, Attic. Now Rick says he didn't try it, but Attic, did you try Resident Evil 7?
Yes, I beat it.
You didn't like it?
I didn't say I didn't like it. I didn't.
But it's
like
not Resident Evil
attached to the name.
It is Resident Evil at the end.
No,
it's not
the
Resident
mechanics
Evil,
of Resident
sir.
Evil. It's the mechanics of Resident Evil, but I always like,
the survival's there. The
Resident Evil, not like
the limited inventory is there. It's all those aspects.
Attic, now correct me if I'm wrong. Every like classic Resident Evil that we all loved, it turned into a sci-fi / survivor horror at some point in time. Like you were in a lab or something like that.
A lot of Resident Evil games got a little far-fetched at the end.
I felt that's what I felt was missing in 7. To me, it felt like I said before, The Hills Have Eyes video game version. And that's like, pretty much what it was.
That ship area at the very end.
The very end.
That was horrible. Like I felt like you could do the whole game mad fast. Like the game's not bad. It's not. There is way more Resident Evil spin-offs that make that game look like gold.
Shout out to the chat. I played both with The Evil Within is phenomenal.
Yes.
Right? I
have to agree with King Midway. It's not a true Resident Evil game. It's an Outlast with guns.
Yep.
All right. Well, I mean,
let me point something out. As I haven't even played that game yet. I have it, but I have to say, people were really down on Resident Evil 5 and 6.
Yes.
Right. So they needed some kind of change.
They did.
And so that's what they did. It's like you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. That's how it is with so many games these days, right?
Sure.
Like they took a chance. They took a big chance with that, like just as a big a chance as they did with God of War over on Sony's side, right? Like it's a vastly different feel. It's a vastly different game. Although I did play a few minutes of it in VR and it scared the shit out of me. I just think that sometimes you have to do that with those games. You have to move forward a bit.
If I may, though, that's what they tried with Resident Evil 5. Then they tried it with 6, 7. No, that's way past that. It's way past trying something different. They already tried that. So when they then go to the first person, I know that, and you know what, though? I got to admit, a lot of people, all these podcasts that jump on, they're like, Rick, you got to play Resident Evil 7. You got to play Resident Evil 7. But they changed it too many times. I feel like they've lost their identity.
Well,
I have to agree with Rick.
You know what, Rick? Listen, no, I agree. You know what, Attic? Good point, Rick. I see your point. My only thing about it is that, like Crap was saying, when you have a franchise like Resident Evil that's been out since, my God, how far back do we go? They've got to start to evolve, and they can't just make a Resident Evil 4 and then Resident Evil 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that are just like 4. They got to do something different. And I think that they were able to take something that was risque. And they turned it into something I thought was quite successful.
And what's funny is I think what they really should have focused on is, cleaning up the gameplay and putting a heavy focus on story when it comes to the Resident Evils. Because I feel like that's what really they lost their agenda on. It didn't feel like a survival game anymore. It's like I said in my review with the demo. It's like Resident Evil 2 generally feels like you're against the odds. Every corner you can die. Resident Evil 4 felt like, this one I got a pistol, I got a shotgun. It's like you always had the upper hand on them.
Yeah.
It didn't give you that. You did feel like you were surviving to a point, but you didn't feel like every second could be the last second I played this game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what I feel like they lost. They lost that identity.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, there were certain things that they did right. There were certain things that they did lose their identity on. But again, that's part of this thing, guys, and Rick, you know this because I'm sure you talk to the developers all the time. You've worked with developers that are working on Kingdom Come Deliverance, but also that worked on multiple other games. And they tell you, this is what I used to do, but now I do things like this, or the idea has changed. Yeah. And, right. Rick, me and you, listen, we said it before the show. We said it on the show, right? We're old-time gamers. We've been gaming for so goddamn long. That goes for Crap. goes for a bunch of guys. I can only speak for the guys that I actually know. That Crap's up there. I got Clowns. I got Xbot, Addict. I don't know how old you are, but I got to be honest with you. The point of the matter is, if you've been around as long as we've been around, I somewhat like to see. Well, we'll round you up a little bit, but nonetheless,
round me up. Okay, there we go.
We'll round you up.
You're trying to get me to that single player only age now, guys.
I'm trying my best. Okay, but Arthur, for God's sake, Rick, real quick, let me put you on the hot seat. What'd you think of Red Dead Redemption 2? That's not even on the topic.
Oh no,
I got to hear your input because you're a special guest. I want to hear Addicts too.
Oh, this is going to further the point even more. So it's been such a weird year for me. I have all these games that I haven't played. I have Horizon. I have Uncharted that are all boxed up. Yes, I did get Resident Evil 7. I haven't played it yet. I have that all boxed up. I have The Witcher 3. I still haven't played. I haven't even bought it. I haven't even bought freaking Red Dead Redemption 2. And that was one of my favorite games, Red Dead Redemption 1. That's how far behind I've been playing. And then, excuse me. And then I've been actually playing more freaking indie games this year. That's what's crazy. I've played all the time on Ash.
I'm taking notes.
Been playing Celeste,
Rick, I'm taking notes right now, Rick. And what I'm realizing is I'm going to be writing you about all those games you don't play. Just send them to Mooch. I'll send you a P.O. box immediately.
Right. It's crazy.
Yes. Well, I mean, what do you think about Red Dead? You've seen it in news. Is it something that interests you? Have you played the first one?
I played the first one and the DLC and multiplayer for hours and hours and hours and hours. Yep.
So listen, whether you've gotten to it or not, Red Dead 2 is in your future.
Of course it is. Not even a question.
I wish I could predict a lot of numbers like I just did that. Sure. Addict, what do you think, buddy? Is this your game in the future? Or have you played it? What do you think?
Are you talking about Red Dead 2?
Yes, sir.
Or are we talking about Resident
Evil? Red Dead 2.
Oh, no. That game, I threw that in the bushes. I was done with that. No, I played that for like an hour and a half.
Addict, I had respect for you with the whole Resident Evil 7 thing, man.
Cool. We can vibe on certain subjects and not vibe on others. That's fine.
All right.
Addict just realized Xbox unfollowed him on Twitter. Listen, Addict, I think it's something that I originally, you guys all know this from the show, and Crap gives me a lot of shit for it, but nonetheless, okay? It is a slow-paced game. You've got to get past Chapter 3, Chapter 4.
How long does it take to get through Chapter 4?
To get to Chapter 4, I'd say you're about 40 hours in.
40 hours. So I got to do a whole work hour week to get into Red Dead 2. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, Arthur calls on you, okay? You have to do things for Arthur and Dutch.
Maybe I have to be to that single player age before I can sit down and get to 40 hours in a single player.
Yo, hey, let me say this. I'm not a single player guy for the most part. I never even got into the first Red Dead, right? This game, and I still stick by this every week. I have not found another game to grab my attention since I beat this game and put 80 some hours into it. Like I have, it's that damn good.
Giving away Celeste though, it was up for game
Celeste.
of the year. Come on,
you know the only thing I hear about Celeste, I hear that people are like, how the hell was this game up for game of the year?
I tried it, and man, I got news for you. I grew up loving the NES, and let me tell you something right now. Man, there was some NES games that would knock Celeste.
Hey,
right
if somebody
off the
out there
ledge.
tells me that game is better than Forza Horizon 4, slap yourself, because
look, man,
that game is terrible.
Anyone sits here and tells me, yo, yeah, AJ, you got to play this game called Red Dead 2, okay? Now, what it is you're a cowboy. It has a great story, because I will give it that. The immersion was there. It was definitely there. But then they get to the point where, like, now I know it's going to be slow. But you get about 40 hours in, you're going to love it. 40 hours?
Wait, aren't you a Destiny dude?
You see, that doesn't matter, though. I like the gameplay. I can't grasp.
Wow.
Well, now, wait a minute. Wait, Attic, I got to come to Attic's defense.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been
hear what he's saying
for a long time, and people don't.
And I can play Destiny with my friends, too.
Gameplay, I believe. And Rick, hear me out, Rick. I really want to get your input on this. I love what he just said. When we grew up as kids, Ghosts and Goblins, Castlevania, let's cut the crap with the story. It was about the gameplay. Gameplay can make you come back to play the game. Yes. So my point being is I like where he's saying with it. That's why I played Destiny last night for about 2 hours after the news. I went back to it. And I hadn't played it in about 3 months. And I got to be honest with you, boy, am I out in the I'm in the bushes. I got threw myself in the bushes because I got to be honest with you, I was so far out of it. But the gameplay was so gosh darn good. So realistically speaking, the one thing about Red Dead that is so great is the story. So crap, I'll give you that. But the one thing I got to say, though, is, the gunplay and the movement and the jumping on the horse and, getting the horse to mount and this, that was kind of, it was sticky and icky and it wasn't all that great.
I think what killed me when it comes to Red Dead was riding the horse. Like I felt like I was on that forever. And I know, that's the whole point of the game. You're a cowboy on a horse. But I'm like, I want to be on the horse 40% of the time I play this game. Like,
Right.
So,
Dude, I was a heavy.
You know what I hate when people try to justify that? Just put it on the cinematic mode and just.
No, I was a heavy user of the Stagecoach, man. I beat the game in 50 hours.
After
right?
I talked to you and Rand and everybody on that show, okay, of Crossfire, I started fast traveling a hell of a lot more 3 weeks ago. That's how I finished the game that much faster. But nonetheless, I still had to ride the horse here and there at certain times.
Well, I'm sorry. It is a cowboy game. What's a cowboy known for?
Oh, here we go. Yeah,
I gotta wait for the GTA and blow shit up.
Rick, were you going to chime in with something?
I don't know, man. All I was going to say is as much as I do love a good story, though. I mean, obviously, Kingdom Come Deliverance, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
But I will say, too, to be fair, the games I played most this year, dude, Dead Cells, I've probably put in 100 hours. I have Salt and Sanctuary. A lot of people haven't even heard of Salt and Sanctuary. Great game, like Dark Souls platformer. Love that one. Ashen. These games that like, there's not really that much of a story. I still overall for me, even though I love story in a game, gameplay is primo. Even over graphics, gameplay is everything.
Can I ask Rick? Because Rick, hearing the games that you played and everything like that, have you played Absolver yet?
No, but I downloaded it again. Thank you, Game Pass.
Oh hell yeah, man! That game, dude. I love like how different that game is. Of course, you can kind of like in the Dark Souls, kind of like Spirit. You can walk and end up somewhere like that you're not a high enough level to really do anything in, but they'll let you in there. But the kind of like switching up your fighting styles and have it being more of like a martial arts type hand-to-hand combat thing. I'm really digging that game, man.
I'm all about that, man. Just something a little different. But the other game that I put a ton of time into this year is Wildlands, Ghost Recon. Yeah, not the story on it kind of really sucks. It's more about, in my opinion.
Oh, damn, see, I have to start that. Good.
I agree with you there. I think the story on that was subpar, but the gameplay was phenomenal.
Amazing.
I wish I played more of it. Listen, I got news for you. I'm glad we kind of brought that up. These are the things that Mooch has a hard time getting along with. I have a really hard time getting along with Ubisoft games. I don't know what my problem is. I think it's just the way that they kind of go about their business. I don't like the way that the games progress as much. I love the gameplay in that one, though. That was one thing I think they did that one right. I thought Wildlands was great. Shout out to Noof was in the chat. Noof, boom, kaboom, boom, kaboom. Boom and me and Noof played that game on his chat with Noof. And I'll be honest with you, great game, awesome game. But, guys, I do have something to kind of bring up. And you guys are the guys to talk about it with.
Yes, we are.
February games are coming up, guys. And I don't think anybody in podcasting or in the gaming industry has said, wow, February's stacked. But it is. But the problem is that it's stacked with a bunch of games that people, if you just want to talk generically, you'll go, oh, it's stacked. There's so many games. My problem is this. I don't really think that there's that many great games coming out this February. And let me tell you this much. I'm all in to try Anthem.
There we go. See, that's the Destiny brother in him right there.
I do. Because I love Destiny, I got to try Anthem. But I will say this much. I'm extremely concerned for Anthem's future. I don't think Anthem has the longevity that Destiny has.
Destiny clearly didn't really have longevity either.
It really did, though. Because you wouldn't see the media and everybody jumping through fire hoops.
But I mean, if it did, I think Activision wouldn't have
longevity. The game would have been.
I don't buy into that crap. I really don't. If Activision, puts a ridiculous number up there that's not obtainable, that's just not obtainable. But realistically, Destiny has millions of followers. Okay, there's a guy named Papa Console. Okay, more Console, I believe is his name, right? He's awesome, dude. He's Papa Console. He's got 900,000 subscribers on YouTube.
I never heard that. That's secretly Mooch's second account.
Maybe I wish it was. You kidding me? I'd be in a helicopter podcasting right now. Listen, the point of the matter is this. There's a lot of people that love Destiny. I'm concerned for Anthem because I don't think Anthem has the longevity. What do you guys think? I'll start with Addict. Addict, because you and Xbot are big-time Destiny fans. Do you think that this game can withhold what I call the 30-day curse, which is what the Division had? I think after 30 days, this game's not going to be talked about nearly as much.
My thing with Anthem, this is the same reason I had with Destiny. I mean, the Division is I'm I want these games to stand on their own feet. I'm tired of there's that marketing that they like to do, and then there's the marketing they say that's not on TV. Like, I'm tired of everything having to be the Destiny killer. This is the true Destiny. This is what Destiny was supposed to be. I'm like, can Anthem stand on its own feet without being the killer of another game?
Right. Can it?
Okay, like, if they do well when it comes to the PvE. Now, people were sitting there, it doesn't need PvP. They don't play Destiny. Because when PvP is lacking and it's only PvE, that's when the game drops and it's not one of the most played games on consoles. PvE is that stepping stone to PvP. And Anthem doesn't have that. Now, I have been told there is raids in it. I don't know if that's 100% accurate. I hope there is. And so if I expect a phenomenal PvE experience. And people was like, you only need PvE. Take it from a PvE guy on Destiny.
But Addict, don't you feel like the PvE experience you're seeing right now in gameplay reminds you a lot of how amazing? Now, don't go by what you know. Go by what you saw. Each one of you guys on the panel is big time in the gaming. You guys were watching 13 months before the Division came out. That looked absolutely amazing before it came out. The story, the detail of the city, what was going to happen, the gunplay, and then it just went.
The Division came out. It was a running simulator.
Exactly. And I'm afraid that Anthem is going to be a very beautiful, but it's not going to have enough. It's not going to have enough content to keep you going after you reach max level out. And there's a lot of people who feel that way. That's the question,
though, man. That's the question. At the end of the day, I like what Addict said about, they said that there should be raids in here. It depends on how they set up the raids. I think Anthem, for the world that it's in and what we've seen in terms of wild beasts down to like enemies, how you can how the transition from flying and then going underwater and finding new places and stuff like that, there's a lot of potential there. All right. And that's what has my interest right now. I mean, I can't go out and say if I feel like it's gonna outlive any other game out there or anything like that. But I feel like there's a certain amount of hype for the game. I think there's a lot of people out there that are looking forward to it. And if at the end of the day we get our hands on the controllers, get into the game, and they have the pacing right, I think the pacing is probably one of the most important things to a PvE game that doesn't have a PvP to kind of be like, you know what, I'm just going to go and play against other people for a little while, then I'll come back in here.
The key thing is when it comes to Anthem and you don't have a PvP to fall back on when people have grinded 100 hours and 3 weeks into the PvE, that means you're going to have to pop out way more content than they realistically can make.
They got to have a lot of stuff in there.
And two, like there's neither two different directions they're going to go. They're going to go the direction where you have all this content you could play. Then a couple months later, they drop all this more content you could play. Or B, they're going to drop all this content. And then 8 months later, they're going to drop more content. But guess what? You had a grind for dumb shit between.
Right. And, shout out to Punkdish, who says, Mooch, I've never seen so many EA haters and Destiny haters be pumped for a EA game that looks like Destiny. Shit's funny to me. People make no sense.
That's the part that kills me. You have people on Twitter that say they hate Destiny. And I've seen them multiple times say, this is what Destiny should have been. I'm like, why can't it just stand this? This is what Anthem should be, not what Destiny shouldn't have been.
Exactly. Well said. And, don't get me wrong, Crap. I'll pick on you for a second. Crap's a huge proponent of Anthem doing well. He wants it to do well.
Well,
I don't like Destiny.
No. Here's the thing. It's not like I wanted Destiny to do bad. I got burned by Destiny twice. Right?
No,
that's a horrible.
Once. The second time you had a hurricane.
Yeah, I got burned by it twice. That game is shit.
Yeah,
but right. You know what I mean. But check this out. I love the idea that you have a game that's doing this, that's giving you free content, right? Like you buy the game and you're good to
Crap. I told you when you walk by every food court in America, they hang you the little teriyaki chicken on the stick.
Yeah, I don't
want the teriyaki on the stick.
Free content?
They're not charging you for expansions and things like that. They've already said
4 or 5 events every year.
They say the microtransactions are going to be through the roof in that game. They've said
there's going to be new no loot boxes, none of that stuff, right? Like I like
that. Doesn't make me like it, but that doesn't make you like a game.
I'm not saying it's for me. I'm saying I'm saying that what they've successfully done is piqued interest of somebody who doesn't like that shit about Destiny.
But they piqued interest in the anti-hater on Twitter. Congratulations, not the gaming aspect.
Oh, I mean, I don't care about Destiny. I probably won't care about this.
No, not Destiny. You know what I'm saying, though? My point being is I agree with Crap's saying. Crap's saying they are appealing to people who don't like loot boxes, don't like paying for DLC. That means they're appealing to people who like to cut coupons. That doesn't mean that necessarily.
This is EA, the king of that shit.
Listen, Rick, I got news for you. If Rick has a game, okay, and he wants to charge me for DLC and I love his game, we all see the meme out there. Take my money. I'll pay for that gladly. My point being is free DLC doesn't mean it's good DLC. And that's where I question it. I think this game's going to run to a major issue after you reach max out. And that's the same thing that happened in the Division. That's what concerns me.
The free DLC is going to be like patrol modes. Why don't you take this chariot to that chariot?
Well, as long as they aren't charging you $200 to play the full game. I think people are going to be good.
Anthem second DLC. Horde mode. Oh, here we go.
Well, you know, but the one thing that I would really like them to stay away from that Destiny does is I would really like that, like, you know, if there is an Anthem 2, which I'm sure there will be, there's enough Destiny hate to go around.
If there's a Division 2, there could be a Mooch and Crap 2. Okay?
Well, what I would like for them to do, Destiny has this really, really bad case of we're going to sell you stuff in Destiny 1, and then we're going to resell it to you in Destiny 2. I don't want that for Anthem. Whatever Anthem has,
baby.
Division 2 is going to be a reskin of Division. If you guys seen Division 2, have you guys seen Division 2 footage? It's Division 1 in Washington.
Hey, hopefully it has a good story, though. I mean,
how much better can it be? Now we're going to attack what? The Washington Monument? Get out of here.
Well, I mean, you know what was cool about the Division 1 was, like I said, when I say it had a hell of a first week, it did. Me and my friends played the hell out of that story.
It was a great week.
It was great. It was, you know, you set up your base.
What's the story
about the disease that wiped out, and you got to set up your building and and upgrade it and all that kind of stuff. I loved it. I thought that was awesome. And they were supposed to come out with more more areas,
Park and
like more areas to take care of, and they never did. So, you know, for me, it kind of is what it is. Like I don't think it was I wasn't really interested in doing the dailies and, you know, stuff like that shit doesn't interest me. Give me a solid story to play with my friends.
Yeah,
and
you're not going to like
you're
Anthem,
there.
man.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it is BioWare. They're known for their stories.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, it depends on how it is.
I won't say
if the game is good, it'll do well. If it's shit or mediocre, it won't.
In
Division 2, it's still going to do well.
I was to say, in Division 2, what Washington, having it in a location like Washington, I used to visit Washington, D.C. I had family members down there. We used to hang out for a week or so. What that offers for a game, for a sequel, is diversity in what you're playing in. Like,
you can't get better diversity in New York City, Bob.
New York City, what? You have buildings and sewer is what you have. Building, street, and sewer.
What do you got? A couple of monuments?
Subways. You have iconic parks, monuments, museums.
Central Park.
Like they're, but it's a different set of environment. Did they let you go into Central Park in Division 1?
They told us we could have, but they didn't.
Okay,
but you know what they're going to do?
There are different iconic parks throughout Washington that you're pretty much going to be able to get into that more open
or so they
area.
say.
You know what they're going to do, Mooch? In this one, you're not going to fight the backpack dude. You're going to fight the polo-looking dude. You're going to fight the...
It's great.
He's going to have the Nikes on.
Well, you know, as I like to always do, I love putting our good friend Rick under the hot seat. Rick, I mean, you know what I'm talking about with Division.
He's been under the hot seat like 10 times tonight.
Well, he's a special guest. I've been putting Addict and Rick as much as I can on the hot seat. Rick, Rick, do you see my concern with Anthem? I can't wait to fly third person in a Titan. I really can't. I'm looking forward to it.
They're selling this game off you wanting to be Iron Man. Let's be
absolutely. And you know what? Hook, line, and sinker, Addict. But I mean, what do you think, Rick? Does Anthem have the longevity? I mean, I love BioWare. I love their storytelling, but I'm not seeing it so far, and I'm concerned.
Well, we're in a day and an age, man, where you get the name out there, you advertise it like crazy.
Yep.
People talk about it. It's going to be around for a long time. You watch.
Agreed. I completely agree.
People don't like them. People follow people. They follow what they see. Just saying.
Well,
I think it's going to be good, but I'm saying that it's got enough out there. You know, they put themselves out there enough where I think it's going to sell well.
Is that your bag, Rick?
Is that my what?
Is that your bag? Is that something you dig?
You know what? I think I'm going to dig it because here's the thing. I like Mooch, crap. I was not a big fan of Destiny, and then even playing it from the Xbox side of things, there's things I thought was cool to play that was maybe a little quote unquote butthurt or whatever that Sony got stuff first. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want him to do the grind over and over on a little mini mission. I'm doing 5 minutes over and over and over and over again. That's not my thing. Maybe I should have known that, but I think I'm going to try and give this type of game a chance by getting into Anthem. I like what I saw, but until I get my hands on it, man, because I haven't looked at it too much, honestly, since the big reveal at E3. So I'm gonna give it a shot.
Well, I don't blame you one bit. I'm definitely gonna give it a shot. I'm there day one, absolutely. I will say this much. We're talking about the games of February. I told you guys about my concern of Anthem. Here's a game that I'm not concerned about. I'll go ahead and make a very bold prediction. Metro Exodus, folks. Just go ahead and wait for that to hit the $30 mark at any point at the end of February.
That's a harsh statement.
It's a very harsh statement, but Addict, sometimes the truth hurts. That game
seems like the truth hurts you a lot right now.
It is a never was. The problem with that is this is a big time game. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. The game's going to look great. It probably play very well. I was with the mechanics were pretty decent.
Look that great though, to be really honest.
Well, that's what they're flaunting, Xbox. So if it's not looking good, boy, that's
the original gameplay that they showed when they first announced it looked head and shoulders like graphically superior than the next time they showed like the actual gameplay and they talked about kind of like the openness of the environment and everything like that. That first gameplay that they showed, I was like, holy shit, they really upgraded. And then when I saw more of the gameplay, I'm like, yo, that looks different. Like that's really, in this generation, we would call it a quote unquote downgrade. But at the end of the day, like the story to Metro, if you fell in love with Metro 1 and 2 and in terms of the story and everything like that, you're going to be the first in line to get this game. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of people new to the game, new to the franchise. That's where I'm looking at it the way you're looking at it, Mooch. But I'm excited for the game. I beat the other two.
Yeah.
The story was great. I loved the multiple layers within the story. You had like the paranormal, you had like the radioactive kind of like mutated creatures. You had all these different factions of people. They had like Nazis in the sewer. They had communist Russians and people just trying to live together. It's a crazy environment.
Well, listen,
man.
Did you play on the hardest difficulty, Xbox?
No. Why do I have to? I didn't play on easy though. I didn't play on easy.
Yeah, let me tell you, the game is totally different when you take it to that next level.
Really?
Yes.
I might have to go and do that again.
That's just me. But
so Rick, are you looking forward to Metro?
Heck yeah. Yep, all in.
Woo, Rick.
Let me tell you something. I feel like I just threw a pickaxe in my yard and struck oil. I found one. Wait, Rick, now tell me why, because I've played the first one, and the story didn't get me in there. Maybe it's the Russian theme that just didn't grab me. The gameplay was very good, but it kind of felt like Doom, but like in slow motion. And the enemies didn't really capture me with the big rats, and the fact that I couldn't breathe outside for long without the mask. It just didn't grab me. What am I missing?
All right. Well, to be honest with you, I'm a glutton for punishment. And when you have it on the hardest difficulty, it is a big pain. I'm not going to lie. But I know it's weird, but I embrace that stuff. That's why I love Dark Souls. That's why I love games.
Yes.
Like I will actually not purposely get things in Dark Souls to make it harder. I refuse to use magic if possible.
I'm with you. I always use the knight. I don't ever have magic at all. I always use the strength character.
That's why Kingdom Comes right down my alley, of course. Wink, wink.
Yes.
But
I love the plug.
Punishment. I love the diverse enemies in the game. And Metro Last Light, or whatever the heck it's called, is gonna it's going to open it up. You know, I think we're going to see, I don't know. I don't think open world is the right term to use, but it seems like it's going to be a lot bigger.
Yes.
And if I see big like enemies in the game, and I think they'll come already sold, man. I am old school. I see big bosses. I want bosses. I'm in.
Yeah.
All the way back to the roots of Zelda games. You know, what I like what I saw.
I'm down with that too. And by the way, Rick, I'd like to just make a quick plug. If you get a second copy, you know where to find me. Listen, I think I really do think that the game is going to be in an uphill battle. It's coming out against some big titles. I mean, listen, we all like to sit here and kind of crack jokes about Crackdown 3, but even though it's going to be in Game Pass and we'll all be trying it out, I mean, Crackdown, Anthem, you've got Metro, and I believe there's another game in February that's coming out, and pardon me for not remembering it off the cuff, but nonetheless.
Far Cry game.
Say it again? The Far Cry. Yeah, there's a Far Cry. And also, shout out to Addict who said this earlier, and I can't believe Mooch is actually saying this, but it was gifted to my kids, so I'm going to have it. I am going to have Kingdom Hearts 3 the first time in my house ever.
Yes.
I don't even know what that is.
Yes.
I do, but I've never played it.
Supposedly, it's really good. I've never played it either. So
yeah, I mean, so that comes out January 29th, which is basically February. So let's count it as a February game for all practical purposes, folks. I don't see me playing Metro until I'll make this odd prediction. Okay, I would say by January or February of 2020, Metro Exodus is in Game Pass. Because they've got, that's what I would say. Yeah, because you've got the other two already in there, Addict. So it's not that radical.
I actually there's a big part of me that wishes they would go day and date on that one. I think it would be a really good title.
We would have known about it already, but I agree with you. I think it would get bigger numbers. It would get more in terms of the hype train. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? More people will try it out. More people would get introduced into, you know, the Metro franchise. I know, you know, they've pretty much given away the first two by this time. You know what I'm saying? They had so many deals, so many sales. I think it was $10 for Metro and Last Light put together. I was trying to tell everybody out there, you know, for $10, this is a steal. I'm like, you need to buy this. But I feel like it would have been great day and date with Game Pass, man.
Well, Titan Drago says it in the chat. He says the last two Metros are in Game Pass to build hype for the new Metro. I completely agree with that. And that's why I think they have a relationship. And I think you'll see Metro Exodus in Game Pass most likely in 12 months. I don't think this is going to do very well. I think it's immediately going to go to $30 within 30 to 60 days. And from there, and it's not, listen, this is not to belittle anybody's hard work that they've put into it. It's just coming out against some big games. And I think Metro doesn't really carry the name tag that a lot of people thought it did back in last generation. Let me bring this up, guys, while I've got you guys here. We talked about it on Xbox Nation. I got to bring it up. So Razer's got they've got their own keyboard and mouse coming out. And, you know, Rick, Kingdom Come Deliverance is very big on PC. We've talked about it before. We'll talk about it again. This is something that a lot of console gamers have been concerned about. And now they're becoming less concerned because they do realize that there'll be some segregation between console using the the gamepad versus actually having a keyboard and mouse. So what do you tell console gamers that freak out when you see Razer and Xbox making a deal that allows you to use keyboard and mouse on their Xbox One X?
I mean, here's the truth, okay? Here's the honest truth. You keep the keyboard and mouse to the PC gamers, all right? I'm old school. I'm still old school.
There you go, crap. There you go, crap.
There you go.
You're a bunch of cheaters. You're all cheaters, all right? Play it fair. Keyboard with keyboards, controllers with controllers.
I love it. That's what you're in good company tonight, Rick.
That's where I stand. That's where I'm standing.
We got another one, Crap. We got another one.
Well, no, yeah, like, listen, like, again, I don't think there's going to be a ton of people that buy mouse and keyboard for Xbox One. Right? It's not going to happen. They're just throwing that out there as an option or whatever. I get that. I don't want there to be a mix on the games, and they haven't been real clear on how they're going to handle that, right? Like Fortnite separates you. If you have it detects a keyboard and mouse, you go in with other keyboard and mice, right? Yep. Microsoft has not specified other than it's up to developers. You know what I mean? Yeah. I would love to hear them go, okay, sure, Gears 5 is going to support keyboard and mouse on Xbox One. I don't know why the hell it would, but I can't imagine there being a big pool of keyboard and mouse people on that version. So eventually, or maybe right away, they might just go, okay, well, you can play against other, people with controllers. I don't like that idea. Same thing with like PC. I like the ability to turn that off. I'm glad for the option, I guess. That's Microsoft's idea for the future. Like I like their whole future plan. Sometimes like I scratch my head. I'm like, how's that going to work when people are on a stupid tablet with a touch thing jumping into a multiplayer game with someone that's using a controller, right? They're at a huge disadvantage. They're not going to like that. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like you're going to have all these little subsects of Xbox Live. Okay, well, if you're on mobile, you can play against only other mobile or everybody. If you're in console, you can play against other consoles, but only those with a controller or everybody, right? Like I'm sure there's some people that are going to be fine with. They're going to be like, I can handle that, and they're going to get their ass kicked, and they're going to get pissed off. You know what I mean? Like I, like for me personally, controller all the way. If you're really a PC or a mouse and keyboard guy, you'd be on a PC anyway. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
You don't have different lobbies and games, right? For PC only, whatever.
Yeah.
And,
Rick, since Microsoft constantly says it's up to the devs, you actually sit down and work with devs. What is their take when this conversation comes up, at the coffee pot or something like that? They say, well, we can make this, keyboard and mouse on Xbox. Like, do they say, listen, guys, let's keep this thing to, consoles uses actual controllers, and we're going to keep mouse and keyboard to PC. Do you hear that kind of banter between the devs?
Well, when I do, first off, it's on Skype because I'm the Lone Ranger in the U.S., which is cool, but it's on Skype. But anyway, unless I visit the studio, of course. But the big thing for us is we're in a different position where this is just going to sound so corny, but it is the truth. We base it more off our fans because we made it because of our Kickstarter, Yes. So like we're more concerned with that, not what's trending. And yes, of course, if there's a business is a business. So if there's a way where they can increase their revenue, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But as far as from our standpoint, an indie studio, like sometimes you don't even have the luxury to consider extra things. You only have so much you can do within the funding you have and the resources you have. So that's not even something that we would even have a conversation of maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I do get what you're saying. Who's going to chime in? Was that Addict? Addict, are you big in on this or not? Are you a keyboard and mouse guy? Do you care about this coming out? Is this a product that you're even interested in?
I plead the fifth.
No, you can't do that, man. We're not in court. You got
to tell me I can and cannot plead the fifth. You got some kind of button you click it.
Addict, this is the internet. Right now, man. This is the internet. It's not just the United States. It's all
I
over
should
the
be able
world.
to plead the fifth, especially on the internet.
No, the internet has to know everything, Addict. I mean, you got to come clean on the internet.
Clowns, you need to come clean because Clowns, you are a hacker. You know things that are going on.
Oh God,
he is. He's Clowns. Clowns, are you in or are you out on keyboard and mouse?
I think it's a really tough position. I mean, for Xbox to evolve and expand their fan base, it kind of needs it because people do use it. I mean, let's face the facts. People
Gears
do use
Tactics.
It. Yeah, but I mean, it is a small percentage of console players that would ever probably pick it up.
I agree.
My biggest concern is the macros on those things.
Explain, please. The audience wants to know.
Well, the macros, you can program them on the keyboard to do like certain keystrokes in a certain order. And it gives players an unfair advantage at times in a lot of games. So if Xbox didn't block that somehow, or the devs didn't block that somehow, I mean, people could essentially automate themselves to be faster than human responses.
Okay, but on a game like, Gears Tactics or single player, that doesn't come into play.
No, it wouldn't come into play on single player.
I think when it comes down to, and Crap and I have had this conversation on multiple podcasts and off the air, I don't see that this being a problem because when it is a multiplayer game, it will be the lobbies will be segregated to controller and keyboard and mouse. I mean, do you agree with that, Crap? I don't think that you're going to get.
Like I said, where does that come in? Yeah, where does that come in?
We don't.
Where does that come into play when? Because we know when they first go.
Thieves?
Well, listen. Where does that come into play? Where we've already seen that they go, okay, we're going to let mouse and keyboard people on PC play Gears 4, and then it was like, well, because there's not much of a there's not much of an online community on the PC for that. They started going, well, we're going to let them go ahead and mix with this. When are they going to start going, well, we're going to go ahead and let them mix with this? Like that's my worry, right? Because I don't think there's going to be a big keyboard and mouse group on console that wants to play that game. So what happens when that group is so small? They're probably going to go, well, we're going to go ahead and mix this, right? You're not really going to have a choice.
Crap. To build on top of that, all right, I think we can all pretty much, we've already figured out that the next Halo, basically we all think it's coming out 2020, right? Heavy
specifically for PC.
Heavy on the multiplayer. There's people out there that most times they don't even play the story, and they'll just play everything multiplayer. Halo is iconic in multiplayer. What happens when it releases on PC and Xbox, and say they do have that division there, right? But the PC players start creating an uproar. You got to remember the Halo community. I love being a part of this community, but I am also here to tell the truth. It is one of the most toxic gaming communities out there. All right. I think that's one of the reasons why the Destiny community is like that as well, because at its foundations was Halo community people moving where Bungie went.
Like, for the most part, like the Halo community, they savages. Like, they're the kind of people to like take your lunch money and shit. But like wow. Destiny ain't really. I ain't never really had that bad experience like that.
Of course, you hang with the same people.
No, I use LFG all the time.
Check this out, though. Check this out. Huge uproar. People who have Halo on PC saying, oh, man, we thought we were going to be able to play with the people on consoles. And if it turns into a huge uproar, you got to remember Microsoft and Xbox is like, we're listening to the gamers. This is what we do. We'll take your feedback in. Like, what's to say that if there isn't a huge uproar on the PC side, just so they can try to take advantage of people on console who are playing with controllers, because the PC side, they want this whole crossplay thing because they think they can definitely do this.
Right.
All right.
Well,
who's to say that they're not going to take down that wall, man?
Like Sea of Thieves, like that still pisses me off. Like they were running around with invincible ships.
Did they ever really fix that either?
Well, they never really even admitted that it was a problem for the longest time. Like I know me and Clowns and Mooch were playing, and we couldn't like they're just appearing in front of us and on our boat. Like they drop our anchor from 4 football fields away out of the blue. We can't shoot them. Like we've got 500 holes in their boat, and they're just laughing at us. Like that's the stuff that really throws the games off. And that's a lot of what, not every PC gamer, but that's a lot what PC gaming is known for, is a lot of the abilities to download these hacks and stuff that really gives you an unfair advantage. And even though that's not like a multiplayer game, it still sucks.
One of the biggest things I do remember on Sea of Thieves is, I'm not the biggest fan, but I've had some like only in Sea of Thieves moments. And like me, Diller, and Kid Smooth were playing that game, and me and Diller were just looking around. Diller's like, "Kid, pull the anchor." And then after about, we're not slowing down. It's like, "Kid, I thought I told you to pull the anchor." This man didn't know where the anchor was, and we just ran straight into the island.
Wow.
In all honesty, I got to be honest with you guys. I think that you guys all made good points on that. Myself personally, I thought it was intriguing at first, especially when you're talking about like Gears Tactics, these other games that you can actually go out there and use keyboard and mouse. But the thing about it is I get more and more into it. And now that I never had a PC for gaming. I never did until the past 3 months. And even then, I've
when
only
you built one
extremely sarcastically, crap. I got 45 minutes on it. I mean, realistically,
Gears Tactics on console. I really do.
I think I would play
XCOM fan. Like,
I think that's a given that it's going to come to console.
Absolutely.
I mean, it will. You just have to scratch your head. Like that's one of those noodle scratches. I'm a big Xbox fan, but it's like in the past couple years, like we've had a little bit of a slow exclusive lineup, and everybody knows it. And so when they come out and announce stuff like that, or the Minecraft Diablo clone as being PC exclusive, that's a bad look in my opinion. Just for the simple fact that the console dudes have been there all along. The PC dudes hate you for the most part. Like give it like if all of the games on console are going to PC, it should be the other way as well. make them work in the
I
extra
agree.
time to get a UI that works with a controller.
Yo,
because...
check this out. Check this out. In the chat, our boy LG Nemesis was like, if you see a hacker, just report them. Yo, brother, I hear you. But when it comes down to it, who wants to stop their gaming,
Right.
go over, type in a name, type in why, you're
hey, just
reporting
because
them.
you report it doesn't mean that it gets
They have to
it
get
really
a
gets
certain number of
resolved.
people reporting against them before they get.
It also doesn't
looked
help
at.
the shitty game experience you just
Exactly,
had because
man.
of that person.
It's even chopping it up into pieces because now you gotta stop your game. You gotta go over.
It's funny because Rick said something that made a lot of sense. He said if there's a way that they can and still make money on it, they will. And listen, I love business, love it. So guess what? Do it, go for it. But all I ask all the professionals out there in the gaming business is if you're going to do that and the game does impact another person's experience based upon keyboard and mouse and controller, be courteous, respect both customers and separate the two if need be. If not need be, then don't worry about it. But if need be, separate the folks. Like Crap said, when we were playing Sea of Thieves, that is true. The keyboard and mouse doesn't necessarily put them at a major advantage. But the fact that some of the PC guys were in the same game with us, they were hacking it, and we put, oh my crap, what did you say, 57 cannonballs into their ship? And
I went over there and looked, and they've got cannonballs all over, but no water leaking in. So it was like a little bit weird. And then at the time, people were uploading their videos to YouTube, showing you how to do this on PC, and you know what I mean? Like you're just scratching your head because you report it. Yeah, you report it, and they're like, well, we don't even have any confirmation anybody's cheating. I'm like, I'm watching a YouTube video. They got these bots and aim hacks and all these. They can do whatever they want, fly and walk on water. You know what I mean? Like, come on, do something,
all markers on the characters, too, like from halfway across the map. They could see when you dig up gold, and it was insane.
Well, let me do this real quick round table. You guys all chime in when you want. I just want to hear this because this is one of those rumor topics, so I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it on the show. But there was a YouTuber that came out and said it, and then a publication came out and endorsed and said that I think this YouTuber has some legs. And Crap, you did a video on it. Do you guys think that Xbox will be so bold to try and release the Xbox Scarlet, or if you want to call it Anaconda, in 2019 and try to undercut the PS5 like they did with the 360? Do you guys see that even as a remote possibility?
No chance. If you watch,
I don't see that. I think Xbox. I think they know what they're doing. I think they know kind of like what their competition is doing as well. Because at the end of the day, these companies know more about each other than we know. You know what I'm saying? So I think they kind of really put the proper time frame in. I don't see them jumping the gun anytime soon, especially with this being such an important release of newer hardware. I don't want to say newer generation because, Phil talking about, basically the end to generations and all that good stuff. But with the release of their newer, more powerful hardware and everything like that, I think they've really done their homework on what's going on within the industry, where the industry is moving, where Sony is going and stuff like that. And unless there is something like completely off the script that I don't see right now, I don't think that they need to try to jump the gun and push it out almost like they did with the 360. I don't think they need to do that this time. Yeah.
My only rebuttal to that, Xbot, and I'm interested what you guys have to say about this, is that, me and Crap used to joke about it about a year ago. If the whole emphasis on next generation is 4K 60, and we know that's what it is, it's not going to be 8K. They're not going to, there's no way that Sony's going to come out with a 4K or a 60 frame per second or more. So my point being is, if Microsoft wants to put the goods in the box and they want to pay the subsidized price and get that box out there to gamers and actually have the leg up, because listen, we've got forward and backward compatibility on the horizon. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. It does not mean it's going to happen. But hear me out. With Sony walking in the next generation with 100 million to the 50 million, my point being is that Microsoft might want to get some of those Sony guys to jump over because they have that unit so much more in advance, a year ahead of time, with superior hardware, with the way Anaconda is supposed to be. But it may be the Trojan horse.
Would it be a year? So
I'm talking November 2019 to their November 2020.
You know what? I think it's actually more plausible to have Sony release their new hardware in like March 2020.
Then that just proves my point even further that 2019 could be a possibility for Xbox if that's the case. I don't think that's the case. Listen, I know Nintendo did it and they had lightning in a bottle. I get it. My point being is that
Sony thinks they created lightning, by the way.
Microsoft and Sony are still notorious for revealing and releasing their consoles in the fall holiday because, listen, they just sold 5.6 million PS4 Slims with the Spider-Man in it at the holiday events.
And dude, they're still going to sell PS4s, though, man.
Sometimes a entity like Nintendo doing something different can encourage other people to do to.
That's true, Addict. But I don't see them doing. I still think the holiday's the time you release. That's what. Listen, analysts will tell you that. The market will tell you that. The studies will tell you that. Nintendo did okay in their March release or whatever it was. But let's be honest. They kicked ass.
But at the same time, like, I don't understand that's still bad for them because they still have the holiday. Technically, I think it would be better because they can fix all the bullshit no one likes for the holiday. Like,
right. I mean,
yeah, but then all that bad press before the holiday if something was wrong or if there wasn't enough games or something, I mean, all that would be public backlash against them.
But that's a great point, clowns. I mean, you know how the media is these days. If the eject button is too loud, Twitter's going to be like, it's too loud. I can't take it. I'm going back to my PS4. So,
with the jet
it took too many clicks to go to the My Games and Apps on Xbox.
I couldn't find the settings again. Second generation, I'm out. Sony, where do I sign up? Rick, what do you think about this? Do you think that is it feasible we could see a 2019 Xbox, or is this destined to be a 2020 for both?
I don't see it being feasible. But all that is just just my 2 cents. I mean, I just think that 2020 is way more realistic. I feel like the Xbox One X just came out yesterday for some reason.
It did.
You know what I mean? So, and if they didn't 2019, even 2020, I feel like, man, they better give a really sweet deal to trade your Xbox One X because that was a lot of money.
Rick, I believe that they're not necessarily going to give that sweet deal because I believe when Phil talks about like forwards compatibility, the games that come out with this whole like Project Scarlet lineup or whatnot, you're going to be able to still play them on the X, because at the end of the day, it's about the software. The hardware out there shows the consumer base, to sell the software. That's why people look at hardware numbers, the console numbers.
Xbox, but you know what? May I step in real quick? And
go ahead, Rick.
Take a leap here and say they're going to give an amazing deal. And the reason why I believe that is because I believe they're not just so concerned with the money as they are. They want the gamers. Like, I think they're focused more. Sometimes in a company, you have to take a hit, okay? And I'm not saying that Microsoft is desperate, but I think they have a good opportunity to get some of the fan base they lost way back when with this new console. They've been doing a pretty good job lately. Microsoft.
Yes.
And with all these new studios and stuff, you watch. They're going to give you a very good deal to trade on the Xbox One X because they're stepping it up. They are.
Completely agree. 110%. That's the whole thing. And this is Moochonomics, folks. I know you guys all like to go, I'm holding on. Why? You know that you're a gamer. You're here. You're listening to a gaming podcast. Consider yourselves all knighted. You're all hardcore gamers. Congratulations. You have an X right now. Why wouldn't you take that? Like Rick just said, when they're going to offer you $200, $250, maybe $275 if you're an elite member at GameStop. That's I don't know. But all I'm saying is take it, get the money while it's worth it. I don't understand.
Dude, if they do those offers, that would be great. All right, and it would get more.
They're going to but they've done it since the beginning of consoles.
I'm saying if. All right, they haven't said anything is official yet. This whole forwards compatibility thing, especially in consoles, brand new concept in consoles.
Crap is saying, you did a video on this too. I mean, you're saying that you're not as sure as you used to be. And I'll be honest with you, as you did that video, I thought forward compatibility was just a sure thing. And now everybody's talking
about successor. Mm-hmm. That's the word they're using now. So,
right.
You have to wonder if that's plus. You have to wonder how many consoles are they actually going to have, like you can't have 8 different consoles for people to choose from. I don't really see that happening, to be honest with you guys.
Well, you need to talk to Apple about that with their phones because they got 20 of them right now.
Yeah, and now that's that's a little bit different thing with the phone. But honestly, you're trying to sell consoles. That's why I'm not really sure I buy into this discless S this year, because if they're coming out with the new replacement next year, which we've heard they're going to do 2, they're going to, what is that? The Anaconda, and what the hell's the other one? Mooch.
Lockhart.
Yeah, Lockhart, right? So those are supposedly, what we've heard is the replacements for the X and the S. And
Right.
if you're going to replace the X and the S, why would you come out with the S this year with no disk drive if it's just getting replaced next year? Like, I don't get it.
To lower the price bracket, man, is what they're doing with that.
I guess, but I mean,
they can make that one dirt cheap.
I feel like they've given up on, for the most. They've set themselves up this generation for next generation. I felt like they started doing that years ago, and so go all in next generation. And I do feel like that's what they're going to do, and that's the best thing they can do.
But dude, like what's going on with the industry? You even heard it from Sony. Like when the PS5 comes out, they're going to be talking about active users and not necessarily sales. You see subscription services where you're going to be able to play games on multiple devices. Like, they definitely care about the console, but they care about the console as part of the whole moving into the next next series of hardware and everything like that. So when it comes down to it, if you're looking at it as a part of the whole, you would still want people, because the X is plenty, it still has plenty of power, you know what I'm saying, underneath the hood and everything like that. So if they still do forwards compatibility, they're still going to have people who might not be sure about jumping on the new hardware, even with crazy deals, or they just can't afford it at that point in time, but they can afford that $10 a month for Game Pass still and play the newer games that are coming out there day one as well. It's not going to be exactly the same experience that you would get from the more powerful hardware, but at the end of the day, that is filling Xbox's numbers to a point where they're going to be talking about active users all over the place, man.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, buddy. I think that's the case. To be honest with you, I completely agree with what Rick was saying as well. I don't think that these consoles are coming out till 2020. I will say this much, though. We are having a quick, a little event right now, and I'm trying to come up with something creative, Rick, but I'm not sure. I'm not great at this at the very last moment. Let me do this much, folks. I like to play a little mini game. It's always fun to see who's been paying attention to it. All you guys that lasted till the 9 o'clock mark, which we are at the 2-hour mark. It's Friday night. These panel members want to go home, play games, hang out with their loved ones. Rick has been so gracious. I got to do gameplay
for tomorrow's show.
Well, that too, Xbox. Rick has been so gracious that he is going to offer up a Kingdom Come Deliverance code for you folks in the chat right now.
Hold up, Rick. Let me pull up my chat. Hold up.
Yeah.
I already have the game.
Shame on you if you haven't played it yet. You ain't getting nothing.
I have it. Thank you. I have it, Rick.
Just busted.
Let's do this, folks. Rick, if you want, you know what I'd rather do? I'd like to do this. Put the code in the chat, Rick, and the person that does get it, let us know. Go ahead and tweet it while we do our.
Then I can't do any platform. You know what I mean?
What's that again?
Because then it'd have to be for a specific platform.
Well, we generally do Xbox on here, but if you have an Xbox,
I even had that ready. I figured you were going to say
it's Xbox centric. Nothing against PlayStation or PC, but we're Xbox centric. So a lot of people here have an Xbox. So
of course.
We'll do that on Xbox. Whoever does get it, though, please do write while we do our outros, because I'm very, very interested to see who picks this up.
And it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
It was not you, apparently. There you go. Yobi Dren, who says, don't forget, Mooch, we have one more Red Dead Redemption 2 to give away on MNC, which we'll do this Sunday, folks. We will do this Sunday. The show is it's just getting so good. I can't wait for Sunday morning. Let me start with this while Rick puts that into the chat.
Yeah, are we doing a countdown or am I just doing it?
No, do it. No, it's just like all the battle royales of the world. You just jump.
Damn.
It is what it is, folks. There it is. So when you guys get that, congratulations to the winner and let us know who won. Rick, after you do that, though, I'm really interested to let everybody know where they can find you. I want to say that, you started on the show as a special guest, right? And you came on as a community manager, PR for Warhorse Studios. And now it's just gotten to the point where I talk to you in DMs. We talk on the holidays. You've become a friend, and it's an honor to have you here because you're a great person. You encourage gameplay on the internet. You keep everybody at peace. And like I say, you're just a contributor to all podcasts. You do your rounds, and I thank you so much. Let people know where they can find you. Please do promote the new DLC that's coming out for Kingdom Come Deliverance. And we hope you'll join us again on Crossfire.
Yeah, man. Thanks again for having me. I think this is like the third time. I really appreciate it, guys. You know, I do. And so, I mean, you can find me on Twitter. I'm Rick5292 on everything. My gamer tag, pretty boring, but it's at least you know who it is, you know? Hey. So, but yeah, you know, Kingdom Come Deliverance, I mean, just real quick, for those of you who aren't too familiar, it's an open world first person RPG that's very story driven. There's no magic, no dragons. That was actually the slogan in our Kickstarter, you know, Dungeons and no dragons, you know? And
so great.
It's done really well. It's based on actual history. And, you know, now we're working on our third DLC, which is called Band of Bastards. And it's really focused on combat.
Wow, that sounds like the Crossfire panel right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but, you know, Warhorse Studios, that's the name of our studio. If you just look up on Twitter, Warhorse Studios, that's who we are, of course. But, yeah, I'm always talking about the game, and I love talking to the fan base. I'm just a gamer like anyone else, so my DMs are open. Love talking to people. You know, you can always find me.
Appreciate it, Rick.
Kingdom Come Deliverance is an amazing game. It really is.
It's, you know, not just that, you know, Rick, you think people are saying this just because you're on the show, but, you know, even IGN was doing a show the other day, and they were just counting down, like, games that they've loved over the generation, you know, because we're getting towards the end of the generation people are talking about, and Kingdom Come Deliverance was very high on their list. So I just, it's just, I feel like it's an honor to be able to do these shows. And I've been able to podcast with some great people, and my God, you're very high on the list.
Just real quick, check it out, Rick. You got a lot of fans in the chat right now who.
Oh, I'm trying to talk to him. I was just, this is good.
He's like, I've tried to talk to him, but you know that damn thing is scrolling a mile a minute. Yeah, actually, you know, I don't know if Jay Fonz is here. I haven't seen, but Jay Fonzarelli's a big fan too of your work too, Rick. So shout out to Jay Fonz, who's been around too for
awesome
time. Let me go to Lord Addict. Addict, listen, great to finally have on Crossfire. I'm a huge fan of the Iron Lords podcast. And not just that, no joke, no pun intended. I was just having a lot of conversation with Cognito. I will be back on Iron Lords podcast come mid-February. And we're going to be getting a couple of the guys on Crossfire, too, in the upcoming weeks. So let people know where they can find you. You do other shows as well. People need to know where they can find you and how they can find you on Xbox as well.
So you can find me on Twitter, Lord Addict ILP. I think that's my handle these days. I don't know. I have to double check that. Get back to you on that one. You can also find me on Xbox Live Room to Kill. Yes, I know it's not Gaming Addicts, not Lord Addict. You'll have to blame the dude who made his account 6 years ago and hasn't signed back in. But you know, definitely been a pleasure being on.
I know you as Room though, man.
Look, man, I don't. If you call me Room, I will not. I just won't answer. But. You know,
in a party, I do though.
But I definitely appreciate the invite. You can also follow my YouTube channel, Gaming Addict. You know, and definitely after the podcast, you know, if any of you guys are real big Destiny followers, on the Iron Lords podcast, Lord Cognito is actually right now doing a live show about Destiny. It's a really you know, I'm pretty sure I've seen Xbot in there a couple of times. It's a real information Destiny podcast that you can go to for just about any news that happens weekly on there.
Very cool. Awesome. And like I say, I always like to promote Cognito and the guys. Now, where's Cognito playing these days? Is he playing on PC?
He betrayed us. He went to PC.
I can't blame him.
Don't feel bad. I'm about to betray everyone. I'm about to go to PC.
Are you going to do it on battle.net?
Yes.
Well, if you guys are all over there, I might have to buy it there.
If you slander my name and tell people I did, I'll just say you're lying.
He's like, nothing to do with that. Addict, great to have you, buddy. Hopefully you'll be on again, buddy. Awesome show tonight. And then I've got Clowns, who's down in Florida. Clowns, I know you had a lot of family over, so you had to stay muted, but the parts that you did contribute, we love to have you on, buddy. You're a part of the family. Let people know where they can find you. And not only Four Guys with Quarters, but you got other things going on, multiple projects. Let people know.
Yeah, Four Guys with Quarters every Thursday. But also doing a new show, 4GWQ Presents, where we're getting into comic books and stuff like that. And we actually got some interviews already lined up with publishers.
Comic books.
Yeah, they're loving the format that Sean Labrie did. So shout out to him, man. He is an excellent artist. And
yeah,
and we're on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and I'm working on getting us on cable TV with certain channels. So I'm trying to get our show on different stuff as well.
Well, clowns, if you need a little extra entertainment on the late night edition, me and Crap have been trying to get on TV or AM radio or Sirius. So if you got connections, me and Crap have the show for you.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Mooch, what's TV? Nobody watches TV, right?
Aaron Greenberg just got a TV for the first time this December. So we're hoping some advertisements come out at some point for Xbox. Speaking of that, Xbox 448, who will have a huge show tomorrow, and it's redesigned. Xbox, let them know where they can find you, please.
Yeah, thank you, brother, man. I have been hard at work, and I am actually doing the gameplay right now as we speak. You know, I think tomorrow's going to be one of the days where I actually get to talk about Destiny with K-Mega, with Nox, with Predator, maybe the Don as well. I think they're going to uncuff me and let me actually talk about Destiny, but there is so much more. We're going to be talking about the games dropping on Game Pass and how they are just doubling and tripling down on this service. And there's just a bunch of topics to talk about. So definitely tune into my channel tomorrow night, 7 p.m. for the next podcast, season 2.
Awesome, Xbot. And then last but certainly not least, my co-host on MNC. I do Xbox Nation with him. He does Crossfire with me. The Crap Gamer. Crap, where can people find you this weekend?
Crap Gamer Reviews.
That's awesome, buddy. Such emotion and heart in that.
We are so late.
We are late. My
That sounds
apologies.
just like how I would do an intro on IOP.
It was good. Again, shout out and thank you to Rick, and shout out and thank you to Lord Addict, and shout out to Pred Dez, who won the Kingdom Come Deliverance game by Rick. So gracious tonight, guys. We have MNC show, which will be on this Sunday morning, my channel, the Mooch 78. Guys, hit the subscribe button. You guys are listening now.
Guys,
you guys listening later.
Better and better, man.
Thank you so much. Shout out to Gadang, our new producer. Hit the like button. We'll see you guys Sunday morning and next Friday at 7 o'clock Eastern time, the Lord's time, on this channel for Crossfire again. Guys, good night and game this weekend. We'll catch you later. Peace.